So hello and welcome to the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. It's qualifier race number 3, our final qualifier for July. Before we move on to our finals, my name's Matt Payne. I'm here in the studio with Emma Martin. Emma, it's been a very interesting week for MyWhoosh. We've had updates. We've had some fantastic racing going on last week in the qualifier race number 2. And of course, we've also had Matt Smithson on the Virtual Velo podcast with some great insights into MyWhoosh and its future, as well as the Racing and Sunday Race Club.
Yeah, well, if you haven't listened to it, do get on board and take a listen to that interview with Matt Smithson. Really, really interesting. Well, the women today are heading to Hederi at 40.5 kilometres of racing, 250 metres of climbing. Yes, you heard that correctly. Just 250 metres of climbing. And the first 118 of that comes in the first 35 kilometres. The final 132 metres of elevation, well, that's the last 5.1k to the finish. They come out of the start pen through 4 sprints today, over a few bumps along the way, and I am just going to call them bumps. The first one of those comes at the 7.2 kilometre marker, and then they head towards that climb, the Hederiat Ascend climb. It's an interesting climb. It's 9 steps, and it really is steps as well, because it does literally come to a flat plateau before it kicks again, and it does kick because it kicks to around 7% in places.
And it is a real climb up to the clouds at the very end of the race. The climbs all basically artificial structures, and I think the two climbs that we see very early on, the 2 bumps that we see early on, they are basically the bridge that takes you from Hederiat Island to the main part of Abu Dhabi and then back out again, and it can split the race.
And you go one way over the bridge, you do a turnaround, you come back the other way.
Yep, it's one of those places where, although you're not probably going to see a race-winning move go from there, we do see riders getting tailed off just because of the speed that the riders go up there, and whether you ride it in person or whether you ride it on MyWhoosh, it's very, very telling on the legs, particularly if you're on your limit when you hit that. As always, we've got our 6 race categories in both the women's and men's races. Our women's race first here on MyWhoosh on our qualifier race number 3. And as you can see, we have the Cycling Warriors teams in category 6. We also have Kitty Hawk Racing, represented by both their Moonpaw and Skyclaw teams. We've got the Level Cycling Warriors along with Level Phoenix. Now, the Skyclaw and the Warriors are 2 big teams, with Holman and Scriven for Skyclaw, Hermansen and Hooker for the Warriors. The Level Cycling Warriors slightly different to the Cycling Warriors, which is Kirchner, and we've got Hadjuk for Level Phoenix. The Moonpaw squad, well, that is Jessica Hamilton, the sprint impresario herself. Then it's Jessica Hamilton that we are in with down on the start line. As you can see, the sea is just gently lapping at the edge of the start of the race. Qualifier number 3, categories. Away we go.
We are in with Hamilton. Matt talked there about us. Well, she was a little form in Belgium because she took 2nd place to Stevenson, really suiting the sprinter that course in Belgium last week. Well, Limburger is absolutely dialing it off of the start today out over the boardwalk. Really interesting to see. Now, we did say it was a very flat run to the first 7.2 kilometre marker. And, well, this is an effort to really get the pace up and really shake the racing early, which is fabulous to see. Now, 24 riders on the start sheets in category 6. It is one of our smaller race fields today. It does depend on who is turning up and turning out today. So Gentili, Londano, Agadello, Narvaez, Sarasu is here, Stevenson is here, Hamilton is here, Barco, Driscoll is here, Bremner is here. It could well be a seriously good race today here. And I do think what we're going to see is this category, a number of the riders in this group coming towards that final climb together.
So we're going to have to see how big that group becomes here. Now, the sprints at the moment on the way through is fastest through that segment time. I would suspect Jessica Hamilton has been racing really strongly with the group, and we've seen her in at the finishes of the climbs previously now, as well as going for those sprints on the way through each of those segments. And that for me is showing that progression that we're seeing from Jessica Hamilton. She's a rider, I think, that really now has got this absolutely down. She knows what she's doing on this course. When we come into the sprints, that's maybe a slightly different dynamic than when we go into the finals.
Yeah, and of course, the final next week is going to be on the Jebel Hafit. So I really think it's going to be an interesting race. Today, we've got 4 sprints along the way. So I think Hamilton will be out and about. And I also think she'll be targeting the finish today, because this is, again, the type of climb that does suit the sprinters. And we saw that last week in Belgium, where the climbs were short and sharp. So Hamilton riding really strongly. Again, they're short and sharp because whilst it's a 4.4 kilometre climb, and then the additional climb to the finish, because they are stepped in nature, they are short climbs within a big climb. Well, the July qualifier race number 3 well and truly now underway for the category 6 women. The group rolling strongly, as we can see here, and all together at the moment. Well, that's the exception of the lone leader down the road at the moment. Judith Narvaez is the rider that we are in with at the moment. You can see the screen mounted on the wall, and mountain bike bars.
Yes.
Flat bars.
Well, and why not? If that's the bike that you prefer and the position that you prefer to ride in. I do know a number of people who have set their bike that they're riding indoors with flat bars, because they generally, if they could ride or race outdoors, are on a mountain bike or similar, but they then train indoors, because at the end of the day, aerodynamics of your actual person are immaterial.
Yes.
It's the aerodynamics of your avatar that are counted when it comes to the calculation. It's just about getting the power down.
Yeah, it's very, very true. And great to see riders setting themselves up in a way that suits them to make the most of what they're doing on MyWhoosh. Well, what they're doing on MyWhoosh at the moment, Angelica Limbaga is riding off the front of this group. She put in a big push out of the start pen to get the pace up and running very quickly, and nobody has chosen to go with her. They are very happy at the moment in category 6 to leave her out on the front.
Well, we'll see if she can stay clear on the front. We will go back in with her very shortly indeed, because we're going to drop in with category 5. This is our second race category, about to reach away from the start pens. One team represented, Cycling District 5 team, represented by Jacqueline Almeida from Brazil. The Cycling District squads, with squads across most of the race categories in both the women's and the men's race field. And Emma, we've got a few of the people who've scored strongly in the previous races as well in here. I think for me, this is going to be a very interesting race as we come in with qualifier race number 3 as we move through in towards those finals.
Yes, I do agree, and I think there's some real riders coming into form. Natalia Idzik took the win last week. Then we saw Annalyn Tejeros, Zugala, Giraldo, and Al Ray. Those were the top 5 as they head out of the start pen. Katja Jaskalainen is a strong rider as well. She's the rider we're in with at the moment. And you can see the big kick from Jaskalainen out of the start. 30 riders in category 5 today. Amber Johnson is here. Katarina Coe is here. Charlebois is here. Wilhelm is here. Wilhelm tends to go really strongly as well. And I think it's going to be very different next week. We said that the final next week is on the Jebel Hafit. Not been to the Hafit this year.
I know.
Big climb.
We did say this in the show last week that we were going to the Hafit for the finals. We hadn't been there. I was quite shocked by that, and I still remain quite shocked by that, because it is one of those sort of classic MyWhoosh climbs. And one of the things when I was listening to the Virtual Velo podcast, there was a lot of talk about, the MyWhoosh Championships being 2 years ago and looking back, and it is always good to look back at the racing and what's happened. Don't forget, you can pick up with all the race action that's happened, including those championships on the MyWhoosh YouTube channel. We're with Jacqueline Almeida here, as you can just see the avatar on the right-hand side of your screen, firmly nestled inside that group, keeping out of the way of the wind as much as possible. And Jacqueline Almeida in person on the left-hand side of your screen. Good to see the ring light and camera there, nicely done. Just keeping that nice and steady, and a lot of our riders recording and making sure that they send off that video feed, because it's part of the verification process. We have 2 sets of cameras basically on a lot of our riders, 1 camera for verification, 1 camera for the live stream. So all those riders who are going out their way to get all the cameras and all the kit set up, thank you very, very much. And if you want to join the live show when you're riding, don't forget, you can join that Zoom call. Make sure you follow all of the instructions on there, putting your name in, making sure that the auto rotate is on, making sure that you're in landscape mode, and then the team will highlight you. We want to give you the exposure as a rider. It's one of the great things about the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club, that massive community of riders. And of course, every rider is subject to verification. Every rider has to comply with the requirements of that. And every rider as well is valuable, and we value you, and we would want to see you in the racing. Good to see Sarah Ray once again, just sorting out
a heart rate strap.
And it is one of the issues, isn't it, that you can have that. Now, I know there's a story of a rider.
Yeah, look, you can see.
Had a heart rate. You see the heart rate monitor there just trying to be fixed. Now, somebody I know had 2 heart rate monitors basically for one of the key races they were in, because they'd had an issue, hadn't they, in a previous world champs.
Yes, I can tell you exactly who it was. It was Lou Bates, the British rider who was qualifying for the World Championships last year. In fact, she was in that World Championships final in Abu Dhabi. The previous year, she'd had an issue with her heart rate monitor that had meant she couldn't progress, even though she had qualified to the final round of the World Championships. And, there's a thing about being prepared when you are an elite athlete, and being prepared can often mean bringing extra kit.
Tell me about it.
Well, we all know the stories, don't we, of riders who have turned up to a bike race without their race shoes.
Hello.
Or a helmet.
Hello.
And then have issues in terms of racing. It's exactly the same. You can have a heart rate monitor fail, as we've just seen our Ray. She's in the process of fixing it, and that's what the joy is, isn't it? It's the fact that, do you know what? You can fix it.
You can indeed. And I think that's one of the key things, isn't it? That if you have spares, you can fix things. If you don't have spares, but again, with it being the Sunday race, each and every single Sunday, we're here bringing you the race action, and the race action continues each Sunday. Even when we've got the championships, the Sunday Race Club still goes on the Sunday in the middle. It's a rest day if you're just racing the MyWhoosh Championships, but it isn't if you are going to be racing on the Sunday Race Club in between. Now, the Blitz Babes are part of our Category 4 riders. We've seen Category 6 and 5 go away from our race start. Category 4, the next race start, with Kawasuska representing the Blitz Babes. We've got Cycling District 4, so their Category 4 squad represented by Hayley Santos. We've got the Pedal Queens, now 2 riders representing them today, Louisa Schultz and Tanya Howeiler. But a big cast of riders in here, from CCL right the way through Benilla, who was absolutely flying, to Conus on the Category 4 riders, really doing an amazing job.
Well, yes, they are doing an amazing job. But what can I say? Really, really pushing on. And Kawasuska, Majuska, Hadlock, Arias, Guiney, all in the mix today. Restrepo took 4th last week. Takanas took 3rd. Ciciolka took 5th. Well, a number of riders going up as well, because the performances have been that strong. Sopers and Bennett, the 2 riders who were right at the top of the tree last week, have gone up into Category 3. This is Category 4, and Kath Tompkinson is in the mix, and she did indeed put in a storming performance earlier on this month to take the win, and she's been rewarded with some progression to Category 4. She's given us a little wave there, and great to see. Look at the size of that screen on the wall. That's the type of screen I like to race with.
It's I would agree, and we have said this on the Sunday Race Club before, that the riders who are on their way through the race route and can see the detail easily generally have just that little bit less effort spent on searching for data and get those results. So having a really clear screen. So things that can help if you're not a tech geek, look for a really fast refresh rate on your screen. So if you're running, so we often run something 60 hertz is the normal screen refresh rate. We run something around about between 140 and about 250.
Oh, tech
So
geek, tech geek.
tech geek alert. So we run refresh rate. That just means that you hit every single frame as it comes through on the screens, but also it keeps those images sharp. So if you've got a nice high definition big screen, you're going to see a really sharp image on your screen, and that is going to help you just in terms of reading things like the power that's being put down, where those riders are attacking. And that's one of the unique things about cycling esports. We can look at our screens, and we're in with Maria Helmaus, and at the moment we can see that she's got 160 to 150 watts at the moment she's kicking out, generally sitting in the draft because it's in green. We get to see those numbers. We get to see how many revs she's doing, what her heart rate is, see where she is on the course, what speed she's doing, currently 35 kilometers an hour, absolutely flying along. We see what the riders are doing around her as well. And all of that data, all part of the key thing that you get more on esports, cycling esports, than you do in any other discipline.
And it really gives you a tell, doesn't it, as a viewer, as to how hard an individual rider is racing, how hard they're finding certain aspects of the course, how much they push on a climb, how much they push on a sprint, the relative effort they're putting in as well. So at the moment, in terms of talking about relative effort, the rider that we're in with at the moment, Meduska, currently riding at zone 2. And you can see that by the bar highlighted in blue on the top right-hand corner of your screen. It gives you a really clear indication of the level of effort the rider is putting in. So Angel Hadlock at the moment, zone 2, 150 beats per minute. Also gives you a bit of a tell on the heart rate if you follow the riders and you understand what their maximum heart rates are, because you see them absolutely on an all-out effort towards the end of the race, versus looking at where their heart rates are at zone 2, zone 3, like Hadlock's.
And we can see Angela Hadlock here on our screens, one of our regular riders. We get a snapshot of here, looking very cool, calm, and collected. This is the early part of the race. Angela Hadlock, we saw her sprinting in towards that race finish, really working hard as she shot in through over the finishing line previously. At the moment, this group together, but we do have one or two riders just distance off the back of this group. You can see that top right-hand side of the main screen. You can tell that Angela Hadlock is in the main group, and that is because the rider that we're watching is centered on the screen in the map, and you can just see top right hand side that central section of the map. That's where the rider we're watching is, and that is Angel Hadlock, highlighted in the blue. In with this group, we're about to take the right hand turn and go into our very first sprint in category 4, and that is going out and around the elevated walkway. Our rider's heading out onto that, but we're going to need to head down into category 3 because they're getting ready to leave the start line. Kate McLeod from the Cake Squad here with Liliana Silva, cycling District 3. You can tell I need more coffee this morning. Holly Bergin here for the MyWhoosh live coaches, one of the many coaches on MyWhoosh. Bulawara, Real, and Simkin for the Riot Squad. Team Golden Light for Golden Light. The Wanderers of Brittany Litton and Talk It Squad, 3 riders. Randy Gino, Rutty Reese, and Sabrina Horner. So few more riders going into those teams early just to get that team practice in. This is going to be our partway. This is our partway marker because we've got 2 more groups to go now that category 3 have left the start pens. So far it's been 5 minutes gaps between each of our waves. Between category 3 and category 2, we have a 10-minute gap in between our race starts. It just pushes category 2 and category 1 that little bit further back.
Right, it does indeed. Now, category 3, 37 riders on the start sheet today, is our largest race field. 181 women complete across the 6 race fields. Now, Kim Bonilla, who took the win last week, is here. Anna Embring is not. She took second place. But Angelica Altamirano, who took fourth, Brittany Lytton, who took fifth. They are all on the start sheets today, including 3 riders who have come up from Category 4. Emily Sopers, who took the win last week. Keely Bennett, who took second last week in Category 4. And Gina Van Rossum, who took a couple of wins last month and has had some time out this month. She returns to the Sunday Race Club and she returns to Category 3.
So returning to Category 3, it's a tough category to go into. In with Julia Montgomery, one of our regular stars in the Category 3 race at the moment. A rider who I think will really, be waiting for that climb effectively. I think like many of our riders, a lot of our riders conserving their energy until they reach the climb segment. Now, we saw Category 4 going in towards the sprint, which is where Julie Montgomery and the rest of the Category 3 riders are heading at the moment. So Category 6, 5 and 4 have gone through. Emma, do you want to bring us the results of the sprints in Category 4 through to Category 6?
Yeah, I can do indeed. So heading through the Hederiat Bridge sprint for the first sprint of the day in Category 6, Jessica Hamilton put the power down as well, we probably expected, to pick up the sprint win in Category 6. Hannah Hermansen coming through in second. And it was Randa Cool who came through in third. In Category 5, it was Natalia Idzik from Joanna Warren from Katarina Coe. And in Category 4, Veronica Sisioka from Geneva Elos from Larissa Heiber. Some cracking sprinting, I can tell you, looking at the stats. And if you're interested in those stats, they are indeed on the results page. We have live results up at the moment, and you can check out the pace and the power going down through those sprints.
You can indeed. Now, one rider that we know can sprint, Lee-Sophie Ramet, sprints
Climbs.
really strongly, climbs really strongly, can race for the overall. And I think because of the way that this course is made up with those 4 sprints all coming before 33 kilometres, then nearly a 2.5 kilometre breather before you go on to the climb where you've got that recovery chance in there. I think this course is spaced out enough for riders to go really hard for the sprints and to be able to contest the finish.
I disagree.
Ooh.
I've had this conversation with one of the racers, actually, because they thought exactly like you.
But
there was plenty of time for recovery post-sprints. So if you went for the overall sprint competition and took all 4 sprints, and then you should have enough left for the climb. But that climb at the end is going to be so hard because of the recovery element of the main course that if you go for those 4 sprints, you're going to have just sapped a little bit more energy. And in that final step going to the line at the top of the Hederiat Ascend climb, you're going to have a group bunch sprint. If you've exerted just a little bit too much energy in those earlier stages, you are not going to win a 12-up sprint at the end.
It is, I get your point. It is very close in terms of the type of effort. You know, Gina Van Rossum was a great sprinter. You can see her going for the sprint at 2.5K, at 17.5K, 23.5K. But to then do the same thing at 33K into the final and not have used up some of those big power muscles that you've used on the sprint, on the climb, I think there is that factor going in there. But I think we're seeing here, you can see Gina Van Rossum really kicking it down here.
Yeah, you can do indeed. But Charlotte Lucas was putting down some phenomenal power, and so was Ramet. Both of those riders putting in huge power. The question is who's going to take it, and I can tell you, well, Sabrina Horner is the rider who takes it in Category 3. Lam Kong doing a massive effort as well. Great to see her right in the mix. Lee-Sophie Ramet comes through in third. Julia Montgomery, Brittany Lytton, Charlotte Lucas. So there were some big pushes, and I'll tell you something, the result of that sprint was completely based on where you were in the pack and how much draft was available. Horner and Kong putting out 11.5 and 11.6 watts per kilo. Ramet, an average of 10.1, but a lot further back alongside the likes of Julia Montgomery, who was rolling at an average of 8.5. So Montgomery and Lytton, well, they got the draft right.
it is all about getting the draft and getting the power. And you can see there that the draft was skill. You had to have the power to go down, but you had to be able to be in the draft to make it work. The draft essentially replicates riding outdoors. The more drafts you can take, the more likely you are to expend less energy. So basically, you're saving energy on the way through. Now, not all of our riders in a position to be able to get any draft. You can just see on the top left-hand side of your screen at the moment, Jessica Hamilton off the front of the group on the descent down from the bridge at the moment, and that means that she's not getting any draft. She's off the front of the group, whereas you can see the riders with those green power numbers. So that's basically everybody else on the screens that you can see. They have got green power numbers, and that means that they are in the draft. So right hand side of your screen at the moment, you can see Sabrina Horner in the green jersey drafting, Jessica Hamilton on the left not drafting.
Let me give you, our viewers, a little tell as to what the difference is. You might be able to see, different coloured numbers is one thing to give you the check whether those power numbers are in the black or in the green. But what does it actually mean in reality? So if, for example, you are doing a team time trial on MyWhoosh, the rider on the front, not in the draft, putting out, let's say, 3 watts per kilo. The rider in second in the draft, whose numbers would be in the green, could well be sat at 2.7 watts per kilo and stay on the wheel of the rider in front. So it's about energy conservation and not doing more than you need to.
And when you're then sprinting through, you are getting, if you are then putting out the same power, you're getting more speed. So that's the other side of the equation, isn't it? So you either do the same speed for less power expended means you're saving energy, or you put the same amount of energy in through the draft of the group and you get more speed, and then you can accelerate and rocket through that group as long as you've got the draft. But obviously, the moment you go out of it, then you're going to get that.
Which is why we say it's so important when we come through those sprint segments.
And in terms of technique, it is to try and be in the draft for as long as possible at the fastest part of the sprint as well, isn't it?
It is. So there are many, many places within the race that you want to be in the draft. You want to utilize the draft for the sprints. You want to utilize the draft for most of, or as much of the race as you can, to give yourself as much energy in the final stages. Now, when we come to the end of the race, you'll see, if you look at the results, the average watts per kilo of the riders. What you don't want to be is the rider who wins, who's had the highest average watts per kilo across the entire race. The smart racer is looking to have a lower average watts per kilo because they have ridden the draft during the race, and that's what you're looking for.
So smart riding, making sure that you stay out of the draft as much as, but out of the wind as much as possible. Stay in that draft, really key. The faster the riders are going, the more that draft effect takes effect. At the moment, we're on the climb here of the bridge, making our way up there with category 4, currently doing between 25 and about 27 kilometers an hour. When we go over the top, though, that speed will pick up here. And this group, although it's stretched at the moment, are going to stretch even more as they go over the top, because the riders at the front will pick up speed first. The riders behind will not get that, and that's why you're going to see a little bit of a squeeze here, I think, as riders try and get right to the front as they go over the top. As they go over, already that speed is starting to pick up, 33, 34 kilometers an hour already in category 4, and that's just going to increase as they go down. So category 6, 5, 4, and 3 through the sprint and away, which leaves us 2 more categories to go. We are in with the Cat 2 Outcast. Returning is Stephanie Briggs. She's bouncing between category 1 and category 2, which is why she's in the Cat 2 Outcast team. We've got to what's is Carolina Laininen racing from Finland. We have 2 teams, though, with 4 riders. The United Cadence Squads, Alice Lethbridge, Camilla Moroz, Mandela Degamashandi, along with Rhiannon Denton. We've got the core squad with Hannah Hakkinen, Joanna Kalman, Katerina Karamani, and Sophie Giovanni. And having those riders in those squads already in those teams is only going to help that team cohesion. It's going to help the team dynamics. They're representing their team and their sponsors as well. So do make sure you give those riders a follow. They are but a part of this big pack of riders that you can see making the way from the start here in category 2. It's a huge race field here, Emma, and we always say this about category 2, but it's such a close race category.
Oh,
it is very, very tough. We're in with Mina Koistonen, one of our returning riders, and Mina back in and racing once again, getting back into the swing of racing on the Sunday Race Club after a little bit of a break. But I'll tell you something, looking pretty chilled out there at the moment, sitting in with this group.
Yep, new addition to the family, back on the Sunday Race Club, and it's fabulous to have her here. It really, really is a star of cycling esports. Well, 33 riders on the start sheets in Category 2. Kate Tridden took the win in the sprint last week. It was absolutely fabulous from Joanna Kalman. Camilla Miros was in the mix. Carolina Lennonin was in the mix. So was Alice Lethbridge. Now, you talk about Category 2 being a really close race. I am just going to say to our viewers, last week in Belgium, Category 3, 1.3 seconds separated the top 12 riders. In Category 2, 0.8 of a second separated the top 8 riders. These race fields are so close. They are so well matched. And Category 2 is one of them. And when you were going through the teams, Matt, looking at that core team versus the United Cadence team, there's going to be a lot of very close battles for that team competition next week. Sophie Giovanni, part and parcel of that core squad, and the Category 2 team competition will be so close, I think, on the Jebel Hafid. But, it's the first time we've been to the Jebel Hafid this year, and a lot of the women and a lot of the men, new riders this month. So it's going to be really interesting to see how they go on the Hafid. Last time in the June final, in Category 2, the top 4 teams were separated by just over a minute. The top 2 teams separated by 19 seconds. It is indeed going to be a real battle this month in the Category 2 race, alongside some of the other categories as well. The categorization on the Sunday Race Club really now working with the 6 categories, and Heather Shanks, part and parcel, of this Category 2 pack, and she could be there or thereabouts next week in the final as well.
Yeah, I think some riders really do just the way that they build into a race category. They just go through. I mean, Heather Shanks at the moment looking for her first victory. She's had 2 second places and a 3rd place so far, and I think we're going to see. It's not going to be long before we see her taking a victory. It's just going to depend on the course, on the riders, how she's going at the time, and that's one of the things that of course, even with all the data that we see of our riders, if you've had a good week at work, a bad week at work, if you've had a heavy training week, a light training week, all those different things, how you recovered, what you fueled your body with, have you, did you return to the UK and have fish and chips? That's
have you done that this week?
Yes. So you just know that you're going to have a bad time probably on the bike. I mean, don't get me wrong, fish and chips, but it's not necessarily the best recovery fuel post ride or training.
Carbohydrate and protein. A lot of carbohydrate, a lot of protein.
It was huge. It was more of a whale than a fish, to be fair. But it was a giant whale shark. It was, but no, realistically, what you do in the week can really affect what you do on Sunday Race Club. And I think that's one of the things where when we get into Category 2 and Category 1, it becomes more and more and more important. You're very lucky, I think, if you're in Category 2, if you can not almost act like a pro, even though you're maybe not a professional rider. You some riders can, and they can get away with it. I think when you get to Category 1, it's virtually impossible. I think at Category 1, you've got to, even if you're not being paid a professional salary, you've got to be professional about how you are in terms of eating, fueling, and looking after yourself.
Well, we have national champions in Category 2.
Exactly, and I think two, it's difficult. 1, it's almost impossible, and I think that's shown by the teams. This has the vast majority of riders already allocated into teams and representing their teams. Amelia Velt representing the Watt sisters. We'll see more riders joining her. The cycling district squad with Anna Caramello. The Supernova squad with Van Hove, Tomasi and Field. Sweat Sensations, Guerra for Bruni and Mayer. And Ablock International, Kluczynski, Hermansen, Holcroft, McCarthy and Sodas from Category 1 are elite level, the top of the tree. The riders who we expect to set that fastest time here today in Herderiet on the Herderiet Ascend course. 40.5 kilometers total distance. That's the distance they've got to cover. The vast majority of that relatively flat, but category 1 coming out from the start pen. And Kate McCarthy, you can see on the
Whoa!
left-hand side of your screen, has decided, you know
Oh,
what?
they got teammates. It's a team attack here because this is McCarthy,
going hard.
Soderstrom, and Holdcroft.
Yeah.
This is Ablock International going. This is a big flat course. We're not going to take it easy. We are going to absolutely dial it as a squad from the start. Kate McCarthy, world champion esports rider, third in the national champs road race. Mika Soderstrom, Swedish road race champion and Swedish esports champion. Plus they've got Holdcroft, who took third place for Ablock International in Belgium last week here on the Sunday Race Club. This is a 3-up team effort. Who's going over? Bridget Kiddle.
She was the rider who didn't get caught napping there, but I tell you something, she's on her own, trying to match the pace of the 3 behind. They've just gone, what on earth has happened? This has exploded, and you can see
it's amazing.
You can see Bridget Kiddle here at the moment has gone with them. She was the fastest to react, but she can't do it on her own. She's going to come back to the group. She's now going to be relying on this pack to bring back the race leaders. 3 riders have gone. We haven't done a kilometre.
Now, Nicole Meyer is the rider who normally does a lot of the domestique work and chasing down for the Sweat Sensation squad. That Sweat Sensation squad, Guerra, Fua, Bruni and Meyer. And Meyer often does a lot of the chasing work for that squad. She's right up towards the front with teammate Gabby Guerra, and you can see Guerra there in the pain cave, taking note of what's going on. But I cannot remember a time where Ablock International have done this before and absolutely dialed it off the front. And I can tell you something, no one was expecting this.
No, and nobody has reacted. So it means that Ablock International squad are going to go into that sprint first. Now we see another response coming. This time around, it looks like Mel Bruni and Gabby Guerra, the riders who are chasing behind it, really trying to make the distance, really trying to go across here. So let's see, can they pull that gap back here? This is going to be really key. What is going to happen? Guerra has put some pressure on, but this is not a cohesive chase at the moment. They haven't got themselves together. What a way to go. What a kick. But at the moment, this is well and truly a race-changing move, because no matter what happens after this, we talked about, Emmy, your point here about the sprints and the climbs, the sprints taking their effect on the effort that you put into the climb at the end. Well, at the moment, the gap has been created here by Ablock International. They are going to settle down and ride as a team of 3 all the way through there, sitting basically relatively comfortably in that team,
and take
like
a look.
team time trial.
So McCarthy's on the front, 6 watts per kilo, Holdcroft 5.5, Soderstrom 5.1. Team time trial effort this, and this is about the team now working together. And these 3 riders, you'll see riders come to the front, put in a big push, riders taking a little bit more recovery behind and dropping their heart rate, ready to go again. But the team have committed to this now, and they're going to need to hold this till the end now, because no one's gone with them. The gap has been established. So we've currently got a good-sized gap here of around 10 seconds at the moment. Now, they either now have to commit as a group of 3 to work this as a team time trial for the next 40 kilometres, or, well, it'll all be over and they'll go back into the bunch.
It will. Now we are seeing that time gap just change a little bit there because of the sprint and the kick put through by Matilda Field, Tillyfield, kicking through, taking the fastest time in category 1 in that sprint. But you can see the sprint time there, 21.805 is not the fastest time by any stretch of the imagination. 3 riders going sub 21 seconds, Anna Svarström, Sabrina Horner, and Veronica Ciciolka in categories 2, 3, and 4 respectively. Category 5, Natalia Idzik also going faster by 0.1 of a second, going through quicker than the category 1 leader. And you can see, though, that the gap that little kick and that little bit of a sprint has pulled a little bit of distance back because they just got this little bit of a riser here, just the bridge just rising up and dropping down. But at the moment, this group of chasers behind, this group is fractured as well.
Well, it is, yeah. We've got two real groups here because the pace that they're needing to push here to try and close this down, we've got Guerra, Bruni, Mayer, Bjarhed, Fua, Kulczynski in the group we are watching at the moment. They're chasing the group of three, and there are riders off the back of this group already. And we can just see they are indeed off the back. And now this is, well, it's interesting, isn't it? It's fractured already. And this is specifically due to the tactics from our Block International. They've been so dominant. And you can imagine that conversation earlier before this race. Catherine Fua up and out the saddle. This chase group are needing to keep the pace high in an effort to close the gap down. And Fua part and parcel of that push.
And we see another dig now coming from Merle Bruni on the front of this group. That's Bruni with a little bit of a kick here, trying to go across, trying to get back, trying to bring the gap down. She sits up though. This is still not cohesive. This is not turn and turn about. This is not bit and bit. Now Fua goes over the top. Fua starts to pick up the pace. It's 5 seconds is the gap. They can see the riders in front. Meanwhile, a little bit further down the course, big kick coming in category 5 as the riders go through the sprint at 17.8k. This is the Hederiat Wonders sprint. And going through there, Natalia Idzik wearing the green sprinter's jersey. I think taking the fastest time as well.
Yeah, well, she took the fastest time in category 5 at the Hederiat Bridge sprint, number 1. The Hederiat Wonder sprint, number 2. Natalia Idzik in category 5 goes through with the fastest time again. Vanna Warren and Camilla Pamplona. Now, in category 6, I'll tell you something, there is a sprint race on because through the first bridge sprint, Jessica Hamilton took it from Hannah Hermansen. All change at the Hederiat Wonders sprint because Hannah Hermansen has taken the sprint from Jessica Hamilton. So there is a real sprint competition battle going on in category 6 at the moment.
And it is going to be Hermansen who wears the sprint jersey. You can see that on the right-hand side of your screen. In category 6, you can see Idzik in category 5 on the left-hand side of your screen there. She's the rider with the green jersey on as well. And at the moment, this sprint battle, really interesting, particularly, I think, category 6, because we're seeing Hamilton being challenged here by the new rider. And I think that, for me, is really, really interesting. There are these opportunities to really go out and battle and to race and to take on the established stars in each of our race categories. And the more riders we get, the more likely and the easier it is to take that on because there's just more draft effect. There's more riders. And we've seen that now in category 2
also,
here.
When you come in as a new rider, there is no expected race play. Do you know what I mean? If you race week in, week out in category 6, you know Jessica Hamilton is going to go in the sprint. And if you go head to head with her, it's hard. Katerina Karamani in our picture at the moment in category 2, up and over the bridge here in this big category 2 pack. We know she's a strong rider. The riders who ride week in, week out in category 2 know to watch Karamani. They know she's one of the strong riders in the pack. And that's it, isn't it? When you're a new rider coming in, you don't have those expectations. So you go for things and you try things that perhaps more established riders wouldn't.
And I think also that there's that sweet spot, isn't there? Because when we look at Hakkinen, she got a 12th place in category 6 in her first race on the Sunday Race Club. That was qualifier race number 1. Qualifier race number 2, she got 10th place. She's now in that sweet spot of knowing, being in that position where she can try something different. She's not a marked rider because she's not just gone in and taken win after win. It's a really nice place to be, and I think we're seeing that result in there as well. And of course, you're still, you can still try lots of different things because there's so many different race routes. Category, the first race in qualifier 1 was the California route, the coast and country route. The qualifier number 2 was Belgium. We were racing in the Belgium route. We're now here in Hederiat Island. We're in with Francesca Tomasi on your screens at the moment in category 1, but they're on this flatland section. It is relatively flat apart from those 2 bridge ascents all the way to the base of the climb at 35 kilometers. Now, this group at the moment, this really has shaken things up. Now, I'm not seeing chase. That group does not say to me chase. Tomasi's in here saving energy. They are across the road. For me, this is still the pace is off. This is not the pace is on.
Well, the pace is, I'm going to use the phrase the pace is steady. I don't think the pace is on or off here. I think the pace is steady. They're coming towards that bridge. The group of three away are still away. The big push to try and close the gap down has already happened. And now they are riding at a good pace, but it's a steady pace. Category 4 at the moment, heading through the sprint, and you can just see the end of the Hederiat Wonders sprint. Salgado in with the Pain Cave at the moment, and you can see her there in the mix, and you can see her here on the screen. They're at the 17.8 kilometre marker into the race, and the Category 4 pack, well, it's a big pack. And I tell you something, Category 4 have just come through that Wonder sprint, and Claudia Hyde taking it from Veronica Ciciolka. Now, if I remember rightly, Ciciolka took the sprint in sprint 1. She's just come second in sprint 2, but last time round it was Geneva Elos who took second place. So I think that means Ciciolka will still be in the sprint jersey because, well, Hyde does not have enough points from the previous sprint to take it off her.
And it is an accumulation of points. Don't forget, you can see all of those prize values and where those prizes are allocated in the race manual. You can find it on the main Sunday Race Club page on the MyWhoosh.com website, MyWhoosh.com. Go to events, and then if you scroll down the page, you'll find the main Sunday Race Club page. You'll also find lots of different events and lots of different ways that you can ride. But of course, we would love to see you here on the Sunday Race Club with me, Matt Payne, and Emma Martin. We're very studiously watching what happens at the front of this race now, going over the top of the climb. McCarthy and Holdcroft have gone over the top here. We've got Guerra having pushed on in that group, but at the moment the leaders look to me to be just holding station. They haven't increased or decreased like a huge amount.
Well, it's an interesting move, isn't it? Because I am trying to take closer attention here. As you see the Category 2 pack come back the other way. We did say they went over the bridge one way and then back the other way. Now, Kiddle, Van Hove, Biarhead, Gallegos, Guerra, Fua are all in this. Van Hooling is here as well. This is a chase group. It's not that far behind the chase at the moment. So you can see the two riders now looking like they're coming back into the group.
And that downhill, the draft at 50 plus kilometers an hour has made a difference. Gabby Guerra pushes here. She's used the draft, very smart riding, went for the downhill. The gap came down. They're down to two riders in the group versus the pack of chasing riders. It has pulled them back. So that descent down with the extra of added draft advantage, even if we had seen a full-on work from McCarthy, from Holcroft there, I don't think they would have stayed away because you've got too many strong riders. Now, if that was a deliberate wait by that chase group for the descent, that shows you the level of understanding of not only the draft, but the course, exactly where it's coming, how much time. You saw them holding them at about 5 seconds. And I think there were some very smart heads there going, we need to give them no more than about 5 seconds. We get 5 seconds, we give them 5 on the downhill, we'll get them just as we come off the base of the descent, and we'll pull them back. And we can do that with the draft rather than expending energy. I think that's smart heads. I don't think that was had anything to do with that.
Well, I think that was a great move from Adblock International
at
the start of this race. And it really mixed things up and shook things around because it could very well have been a steady, almost ride, not race, to the base of the Hederiat Ascend climb and then a race up the climb. It has shaken things up. It has refreshed the legs, shall we say.
I think there's some adrenaline will have been flowing through people that they weren't expecting at the start there in Category 1. Just because of that.
But it now says to the riders, we're going into the final next month and expect the unexpected.
Yes. And you know, don't think it's always going to go the same way. Now we've just seen them come around that round that turn, the base where they're coming back up the hill. Basically, you go up the bridge, down the other side, into the roundabout, turn around, go right back over straight away. You can see here this group back together again. McCarthy in that world champions jersey, making her way up the climb on the left hand side at the front of this group. All of these riders really putting the power down here. That group holding together well, though, at the moment. And you just see riders come from back to front as much because they've got the draft. They go on the front, they then hit the wind, they then drop back. You just see that churn that you would expect to see when you're out there in the wind, when you're riding in a big pack, and all very evenly matched. At the moment, though, this is about staying in contention, not losing ground, not expending too much. And you've just seen that big chase, little bit of a push on the front here from Tomasi, just wanting to squeeze on there, just wanting to put the pressure on the rider. So interesting to see Tomasi's little kick there. Tomasi for the Supernova squad. Again, a rider who's not afraid to take it on the front and be active and instrumental in the racing.
Absolutely not, particularly when it's climbing. She does like to push on a climb, does Francesca Tomasi. Gabby Guerra following her. Van Hooling is there, so is McCarthy, Kulczynski, Gallegos, and Mayer all in the mix. Hermansen and Kolkowitz, two of the riders no longer in that group. When we drop back in with Category 3, they've just gone through the Wonders Sprint. And I'm just doing a double check as to whether they've made the Octopus Loop one. They haven't yet. We're in with Brittany Lytton at the moment. She's tight in that pack. And it's a huge group of Category 3 riders rolling at the moment. And I say rolling, Lytton moving Zone 2, Zone 3, steady state here. Look of concentration. She needs to stay in the pack. She wants to stay in the group. She's right on the front of the group at the moment. Wendy McAlpine, that is another strong rider right beside her. Barbara Bulwara is in there as well. Caroline Manfron is there, and Kate McLeod. New riders in the mix popping up each week. Keely Bennett, she was new not that long ago, but she's really put in some great performances. Emily Soper, who's come up from Category 4 into Category 3 in that leading group as we drop in with Category 5. Annalyn Tejera, you can see her on the screen at the moment. Big kick coming through this sprint at the 24-kilometre marker.
So Tejeros leading this sprint out, but you can see from behind the massive push in there. The green jersey goes in and through. Who is going to take this out this time round?
Could tell you.
Tejeros went through. Idzik is holding the green jersey. Did she have the fastest time through that segment?
She did. She's taken all 3 sprints so far. And Johanna Warren has taken second place in Category 5 every time. So at the Octopus Loop Sprint, and it is indeed the 3rd sprint out of 4 today. In Category 5, Natalia Idzik, absolutely dominant. And she really did have to work for that one, though. Joanna Warren, Katie Bago, 1, 2, and 3. Category 6, I tell you something, the green skin suit will have changed shoulders in Category 6 because going through that Octopus Loop Sprint, Hannah Hermansen yet again taking it from Jessica Hamilton. So Hermansen 2, Hamilton 1. They'll be very, very close on points, but the green skin suit in Category 6 will be on Hannah Hermansen.
Sounded like the football scores then.
Did it?
Yeah.
I don't listen to football scores.
Hermansen 1, Hamilton 2.
4
Fire Athletic 6, Warren 1. It's for anybody who doesn't understand what on earth I'm talking about. Once upon a time, a long time ago, there was a you used to get the football scores in audio, and they basically used to read them out in a very deadpan but very clear and eloquent way, and it was very good. It was but it is of a very definitive style, and that was very much that. At the moment, the score is indeed Hannah Hermansen 2, Jessica Hamilton 1. In the Category 1 race, Elise Gallegos clear, bunch behind.
Yeah, it's very true. Lagos is clear at the moment. She's pushing on, and I'll tell you something. She's got Jennifer Gothlander, the Category 2 rider, not far ahead, just 4 seconds up the road. And I tell you, if she can close that gap down, that's a great move. So we've seen Ablock International go down the road with 3 riders. They've come back into the group now. And they're at the 13-kilometre marker. We're now seeing Elise Gallegos go down the road. Whoa, what a race this Category 1 ride is turning out to be. Gallegos now on the wheel of Gothlander. Absolutely brilliant move because, see a rider in front, close the gap down, push on. She's gone into a great rhythm here. She's sitting between 4.5 and 5 watts per kilo. She's in time trial mode. And let's not forget, Gallegos is a phenomenal triathlete.
She is. She's used to being able to set a pace and hold that pace to be able to ride to a specific power or to a specific heart rate. She'll know within one beat when she's on her limit, when she's just holding that threshold between going into the red zone, going anaerobic rather than being aerobic, and just being able to tick along at a pace that she can maintain. I think this course is really illustrating a number of things here today. And you see this course and you think 2 bumps, it's flat, then it's all at the end. It's going to be basically all filler and a little bit of killer at the end. And it's very easy to think that. But I think what it does is, because there's so much opportunity, and because you know that a lot of the group are going to want to save energy, it encourages riders to get aggressive, to go on the offensive, to try something different. Whereas if this was just big climb after big climb after big climb, you have no choice but to rest the downhills, work hard on the uphills.
Yeah, tactics are coming in.
There is one way of riding it, and that's it. And I think for me, this course particularly, it's a great way to stimulate riders into thinking differently, which is what they're going to need.
Well, look at the push.
Yeah, you're going to need this when we come to the MyWhoosh Championships, which is the $1 million championships that's in August. 7 stages across 8 days. Longer stages, very different. Very much about being able to use your effort very wisely, but also to be a little bit innovative, because you're going to have to think about where you use energy. But the flip side of that is when we look at the World Championship qualifiers, riders need to think about how they're going to ride that, because they are very different courses to Sunday Race Club and the championship as well.
And what's also really interesting, isn't it, is the fact that the riders with their targets and how they're going to balance all that workload. Do you use the championships as a big endurance block before you then hone up and tighten up on your speed, etc.? How are you going to ride it and how are you going to race it? But I think the MyWhoosh Championships, we're going to see different riders come to the fore than we do on the Sunday Race Club, because some of those riders on the Sunday Race Club that we're watching at the moment are great endurance athletes, day after day after day after day. Very different to a one-off race on a Sunday that lasts between an hour and an hour and a half. So we are going to see new champions, I think, in the categories come to the fore, and some great stories along the way.
Well, I hope you're going to join us. We're going to be bringing you the race action across the championships and, of course, the UCI World Championships, the open public qualifiers into the semi-finals, right the way through into those finals. Really looking forward to that. I mean, a fantastic, amazing event and some fantastic racing on the World Championships in 2024. The first of those held by MyWhoosh, in very first in-person event, mixing in-person with effectively remote racing, but everybody being in the same room to do that. So the avatars doing the racing on the screen, whilst the riders in the same room doing the racing at those World Championships. Brilliant to see. Always good fun, and I hope you will be watching. Now, Heather Shanks with the headset on here, which she's just pulled on here. This group coming around in Category 2. At the moment, I'm at 17.4k in. We're just approaching the sprint. Here comes the green banner. The sprint is coming from the back.
absolutely huge push from the current points holder in that sprint competition, coming from the back of the group to the front of the group, utilising the momentum to pick up the pace before going into the sprint. Interesting move. Shanks, Karamani, Kalman, Banerjee, all in the mix in the group. So is Sarah Roach and Camilla Miros. The green skin suit goes underneath the banner first. It is going to be interesting to see whether that tactic did indeed take it through. And Svardström at the moment, the pace going in from Anna Svardström, who was wearing that green jersey, from the back of the group to the front of the group on the intro to the sprint segment, getting the momentum high before going into the sprint rather than waiting for the sprint to pick up the pace.
And catching everybody to a degree napping. Nobody else went with that move, was able to hold the wheel, and that's why she did. If somebody had been able to go and hold the wheel, it may have been a different story there, but nobody able to go with Svardström there, and Svardström coming through, taking the win on that sprint. Just taking a little bit of a check in here on the chat, on the live chat. You can get in touch on the live chat if you're watching live on the show rather than watching on a replay. Interesting comment from Farmos, which is Hayden Parker. It's worked for me in the last 2 weeks by kicking on the downhills rather than rested. He is indeed, and he is also, as he says, 86 kilos. So having that extra mass on the downhill, Hayden, I'm with you. I've been exactly that way, and I know on the downhill sections, it always makes life very interesting. You can really hand it to the lightweight climbers and take great relish in doing so, which I'm sure you did. So I'm with you on that, but it's a limited tactic for a limited number of people, and you do need to rely on the element of surprise.
Well, talking about surprise, Elise Gallegos' push here in Category 1 has held. She's at 8 seconds ahead. Nicole Mayer has pushed to try and close the gap. She's still around 3 or 4 seconds behind Gallegos, but she's 3 seconds clear of the chasing group. And at the moment, take a look at that. Gallegos holds the sprint. It's not going to hold, I don't think, because Bridget Walensky is further back down the course. But Gallegos at the moment having the sprint in Category 1. Svardström, we saw her do a masterclass there in Category 2. Sabrina Horner, really quick time for Horner. Claudia Hyde, great sprinting too in Category 4. Natalia Idzik, dominant still in Category 5. And that battle between Hannah Hermansen and Jessica Hamilton in Category 6 still playing out.
So great to see that battle continuing across all these race categories through the sprints. So prizes per category, per sprint segment, as well as for the sprint overall. The green jersey being worn by the leaders in that sprint competition, in the riders who've accumulated the most points. The final sprint is the Hedariot Beach sprint, coming at 33 kilometres. Now, we are in with category 1, and
I'm loving it.
Again, we are seeing different tactics. We've got a group of 3 riders post-sprint just clear. They're clear by about 3 seconds. Will they continue?
Well,
I would.
Gallegos put that push in and she got that gap out to about 8 or 9 seconds. Tomasi and Mayer have closed the gap down and joined Elise Gallegos. The question is, what are these 3 riders now going to do? Do you know what? The reason I was giggling is because they are only 75 seconds back on the leading group now in Category 2. That quick has been the Category 1 race today.
It's been so active. There's been so many aggressive rides at the front. There's been a squeeze behind to not let the gaps go too far. Meanwhile, Category 2 has been maybe a bit more predictable in terms of the group saving energy, not being quite as aggressive, using the energy in the sprints, but we will see how they kick on and they move upwards.
Well, just taking a little bit look at the Octopus Loop sprint, which is sprint number 3. Category 3 have now gone through, and Sabrina Horner, she is riding really dominantly in that sprint competition. But I note Holly Bergen from the MyWhoosh Live coaches has come through in 2nd place. If to improve your sprinting prowess, the MyWhoosh Live coach sessions is one place you can do it. Those live coaching sessions taking place during the week, different coaches from all around the globe. A lighter schedule, I think I'm going to call it, for the summer months here in the Northern Hemisphere. I think, I know that come September, we are going to see a much fuller schedule with time slots all around the globe, and that coaching team swelling again to make that offer all over the darker, colder months in the Northern Hemisphere, or the hotter summer months in the Southern Hemisphere.
Indeed, or if you are in the UAE, it's just hot all the time.
Well,
let's
if you're
face
on
it.
the equator,
If
it's
you're on the
very
equator,
different.
if you're anywhere between the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn, which is the central belt of the planet, then you are indeed going to be getting cooked most of the time of the year if you're out on the bike outdoors. But lots of people choosing
Perfect.
to ride indoors and
Exactly.
ride on MyWhoosh. Please do jump on board and have a go. If you are watching this and maybe you've not been on the site, maybe you've not seen the social media, you've not taken a little bit of a deeper look, then do remember that, of course, MyWhoosh is free. There's no subscription fees for it. It is a free to download and to use app on there. You can download it on iOS, on Android, on Windows. There's lots of ways to come and race. There's no fee to join the races either as well, so you can join the Sunday race at a club. You just need to have the right kit.
Well, and you don't need the top end kit that you need for the premium events for all of the events.
Yes,
there
indeed.
are other races that you can do, whether that's the Masters racing on Friday, whether it's team time trials, individual time trial leagues, all sorts of things going on. And it is for the premium events that you need the premium equipment, but that's where there are premium prizes.
There are indeed. Now, really interesting. Jessica Hamilton went off the front here in the sprint. She really kicked on there. Hannah Hermansen didn't go with the very front kick from Hamilton. Hamilton went early there, went off the front, went through the sprint solo. Hannah Hermansen went through behind. I'd be really interested to see who has the faster time, because Hermansen in the green jersey went through with the group. Did Hermansen have the faster time in the category, or did Hamilton?
Well, I can tell you it's all change. In category 6 at the beach sprint, Gentili actually set the fastest time from Hadjuk and Bremner. But in terms of the Hamilton Hermansen showdown, well, I'm going to caveat this with I think Jessica Hamilton has just changed her race tactic because she did not sprint the sprint.
Well, she's clear on the front at the moment. She's got a gap of what is about 9 seconds to this group here.
I think this is a go for the race win for Jessica Hamilton. Hannah Hermansen goes through in 4th place on the sprint, picking up 2 points. Hamilton will pick up no points on that. So the sprint competition now belongs to Hannah Hermansen. I think we're going to see Jessica Hamilton attack because the Hedera Ascend climb, the final climb of the day here, 4.4 kilometres, average gradient of 2.8%, is deceptive. 9 individual steps on this climb. It kicks to 7% in places, but every step is short with a period of recovery. The type of climb that will really suit Jessica Hamilton.
So Hamilton maybe just pivoting a little bit in her target for the day, with that challenge coming from Hermansen, the rider there who takes the green skin suit. She's got that confirmed on her shoulders now as being the overall winner, subject to the verification that takes place at the end of the race. Now we're in with Natalia Idzik at the moment. She's the sprint leader in category 5. They too are coming in towards the sprint banners. You can see them glowing in the distance. They are making their way in there, and this has been very, because realistically Natalia Idzik has been very dominant in this so far. Will we see her maybe ease back a little bit, knowing that she's pretty secure in that position, or will we see her just put that little bit of a kick in? We're going to have to keep an eye on this, because I think this will be very telling, particularly in light of that conversation we had earlier with the 2K into the final climb from here.
I think the interesting thing is that Idzik has taken maximum points in all 3 sprints so far. Joanna Warren has taken 4 points in all 3 sprints so far. So there are 3 points separating the two of them. If Idzik wants to take the win in the overall sprint competition, she is going to have to sprint this, because she's going to have to come into the top 5. Because if Warren takes maximum points, Idzik is going to need to pick up 2 points to hold that jersey.
So here we go. She's got to get 2 points.
There she goes.
The rider just challenging, pick up the maximum points.
Look at the kick.
Big kick, big push. Here she goes, drives through the group. Will anybody be able to hold the wheel? She's got the gap. She's opened up the pace here. She's not just going to get 2 points here. Surely this is enough to take away the maximum points and secure the win here today. This is a massive kick. She's gone through. Look at the distance she opened up to the rest of that bunch. She's currently in the green skin suit. She took that coming in. Has she got the fastest time, Emma?
She does indeed. So Isaac takes the first this time. Joanna Warren continues to take second place in category 5. But Isaac now will indeed be secure in that green skin suit for the rest of the race. One of the things to mention, Matt, in terms of watching Isaac there, steady pace in, and then the snap of the start of that sprint, absolutely brilliant. Picking up that cadence really, really high, really, really fast. Two key things to really get on top of if you are practicing your sprinting.
Indeed. Now, we're just taking a look, so we're going to have riders not just sprinting, of course, today, but climbing. And you can see the elevated roadway, that roadway, the stairway, the roadway up to the skies on the bottom right-hand side of your screen, because Category 6 are on to our final climb. At the moment, Sarah Sue leading the group here from Bremner, Gentili, Salzano. It looks like around a Cahool in that group, along with Hadjuk and Hermansen, the sprint leader. At the moment, they're on the bottom right-hand side of your screen. The only set of riders to reach the climb are the lead of Category 6, but the rest of these lead groups are going to be on the way at pace. Meanwhile, we're in with Salgado at the moment on her way down through this section, and looks like she's really kicking on here at the moment. Really interesting at 32.2k, because it's a long way to the sprint from here. This is an attack, I think, to put some distance in before she gets onto the climb, rather than particularly anything to do with the sprint.
And it's an interesting move, because if you remember back to the map at the beginning of the show, there is a small climb and descent before we come into the Hederiat beach sprint, about a kilometre out. And I think that's what Camila Salgado has used. She's used that climb, she's used the descent to push on and go clear of the group. She's currently at around 7 seconds from the bunch behind. And it does indeed, the group at that point in time, thinking about the final climb of the day, may well just sit up and not be so interested in an attack. But one rider who is interested in attack is Valentina Peretti, one of the newer riders to the Sunday Race Cup.
Yeah, great riding by Peretti here, just looking to try and get across the gap here. So will she be able to do so? It's a big ask, isn't it?
Well, she's closing the gap down to Salgado. It's now at 3 seconds. They're about riding the same pace as Peretti just picks up again.
Big kick here. Now, at what cost to get across? It's worth it. I mean, it's an 11-second, 13-second gap between Salgado and the chasing group behind. So Peretti at the moment really looking to come across the gap here and to get in the wheels of Salgado behind the response. Alze is currently at 4.5 watts per kilo. But we are going to see the riders coming in and through the sprint. And I think that's the other thing that we need to bear in mind. When the pack goes in, this is going to be very, very interesting.
Well, it is. And Salgado and Peretti trying to hold the pace. Peretti has closed down now and will be in Salgado's draft. Salgado now comes off the power completely. Peretti sits up too. They're 14 seconds clear. That's going to be one to watch. Well, the other one to watch is this category 5 pack. And look at the size of this group. They've just gone underneath the polka dot banner, signifying the start of the Hederiat Ascend climb. And you can see on the top right-hand corner what I was talking about earlier on, multiple steps.
And a big flat section part way through that leveling off, where the speed will pick up as well, where drafting then becomes a key. And this is not a climb where it's easy to settle into a rhythm. Category 6 at the moment, while those riders really pushing on here at the minute. And that distance, 37k cover. But remember, this is a push all the way to 40.5k. The climb segment itself, it is one climb segment. So whoever takes the climb segment also takes the overall Queen of the Mountains competition. The climb segment finishes at 39.8k.
Well, back in category 1, Tomasi, Gallegos and Maya are back in the fold. This group all together again now at the front of this category 1 race. They're at the 25.7 kilometre marker, just ticked to 25.8. And they are rolling, I'm going to use a phrase, steadily. A bit of a push coming on the front here now. Maya and Kulczynski pushing. They are on one of the bridges now as we see the dig come. And actually, it's Kristen Kolchinsky who is ensuring that Nicole Mayer does not off the front of the group.
So the right continue to push on, and we're just seeing Korchinski here just squeezing a little bit in that team. So the Ablock International team, Korchinski just stretching her legs here. She didn't take part in that initial attack. That's, you know, the flatland isn't her terrain. We know that she's generally better suited to those climbs. It's where she's got those great results previously on the climbs. You know, she's a great climber. Fantastic record in doing that, but interesting to see she's now on the move here. So Korchinski just with a little bit of a squeeze off there. We will see how she's going at the moment. So the riders at the moment in category 1 just making the way underneath the 26.6k marker. So as you can see, right-hand side of your screen, category 6 already making the way up, but the climb currently having covered what is going to be 38k. Left-hand side of your screen, category 1, the last set of riders to leave the start, making their way through the flatlands still. But category 6 on that climb, look at this, another push here. Randa Cahul ahead of Claudia Gentili. It looks like Bridget Bremner still in the mix here. So is Sarasu, so is Adjuk. The gaps have opened though, and at the moment it's Cahul versus Gentili versus Bremner at the front of this race. Randa Cahul are pushing onwards at the moment. The Algerian rider wanting to keep the pace high. Behind, you can see category 4. Well, our leader, Camilla Salgado, who went with that big push, has stayed clear. Peretti has not made the junction. She's been swallowed up by the chasing group, who currently are at about 18 seconds back. The speed comes off Salgado as she goes on to the climb, and that means that gap will show us coming down because the speed of the group is high because they're still on the flatland. As they hit the climb, that will come off, and I think we'll see that gap holding around about the 15 seconds mark, but it's now time for the climbers to come into that. If you are a climber hiding in the draft, try not to get caught out by any of those gaps. You really need to push on here. Wojciech at the moment leading the Wojciechova leading ahead of Hybor, ahead of Hadlock, Alzate, and Majuska as they come up here. This pack is still pretty big. We're not really seeing anybody distance off the back of this group, but it is starting to string out. So the gaps are opening. The gaps are starting to appear. Hadlock still looking cool, calm, and composed there on our screens. Nicely tucked in with this group of Category 4 riders. Category 6, there are 3 riders clear at the front of that group. Category 4, it's a whole lot more than 3. You can see at the moment we've got the best part of 20 riders in this group as they're on this climb. Holding position is key, and Hadlock nicely doing that. You can see the smile on Angel Hadlock's face there because she's looking very, very comfortable with this at the moment. Holding position, she knows when she needs to go. At the moment, it is not yet. I think a lot of these riders are waiting to put in a real decisive move when we go over the big sort of level sections. We've got 2 almost level sections. They come just before halfway and just after halfway up this climb. And those are the sections where if you're in the group, you're going to be in the mix. Let's go back up the climb and go further up into the clouds at the moment. We're in with Angie Solorzano on the left-hand side of our screen and on avatar form as well as they make their way up above the clouds, up above the ocean at the moment. Cahul from Gentili, from Bremner, from Hadjuk and Solorzano. That's category 6. Category 5, this is a good group here on the left-hand side of your screen. And look at this. Now, in contrast to category 6, you can see that category 5, we've got Lopez on the front, but it's not far behind to that big pack of riders who close in on her heels here. And all those little gaps that are opening are being closed back down by the group in category 5. So category 6, Gentili leading from Cahul, right-hand side of your screen, 39.4k now covered. This climb segment finishes at 39.8, but then we've got a tricky run into the finish. Now, these leaders in the category 6 race, Gentili at the moment has to go round the pillar that supports the elevated roadway, go all the way round this horseshoe turn, and then it's a sweeping right into the climb segment banner finish. So the polka dot banner over the road will indicate the finish of this climb. Cahul kicking at 4.5 watts per kilo here, closing down on Gentili. That's a massive kick here in category 6 as Cahul goes over the top. Gentili answers with a 5.3 watts per kilo kick in response. She's not going to let Cahul go in front on this section. They're going to go round the pillar. You can just see the shadow being cast by that pillar over the side of the riders. Are going to come round the turn here. Gentili's gone back in front. Cahul kicked. Gentili has kicked. This is for the climb segment. Remember, there are prizes for the climb segment and the climb overall. That's the same thing today with one categorized climb, and this is close. Here we go. Underneath the banner, who's going to take the fastest time? Will it be Gentili or Cahul? Gentili will hold the jersey up first. We just got to wait a little time just to see if that changes shoulders. It hasn't. So Gentili takes the fastest time up there. She'll take away the climb competition, but can she hold this to the finish, which is further up this climb? The race 40.5k, which means just under 500 meters to go.
Well, Bridget Bremner has just come through underneath the polka dot banner. She's the third rider at the moment in this category 6 race. Monica Hadjuk is there for Level Phoenix as well. So 4 riders now making the way towards the finish in category 6. But it's Gentili and Cahul. Cahul now taking up the mantle at the front of the race. Interesting move here. Gentili on the second wheel. She's watching what Cahul is doing, but at the moment, Cahul is riding away. She's absolutely put a huge dig in. Can Gentili go with her? I don't think she can. 250 meters to go, and it looks like it's going Randa Cahul's way.
Now, we saw this kick from Cahul when they came into the banner. Gentili produced 5.7 watts in response. There was a kick. So these riders are kicking at over 5 watts per kilo. So that's power to weight in terms of climbing metric, which is a key climbing metric, is that power to weight ratio. Gentili at the moment just pulling Cahul back steadily, keeping her at 1 second. Bremner out of the running for the race win in a battle for third and fourth place with Hadjuk and Bremner at the moment holding that third place. Cahul leading, Gentili in second. The riders have got to get this right, and they've got to get the timing right. Has Gentili got this dialed? Will Cahul know where to kick? Gentili has to make a move and move it fast now, because we come round this left-hand turn. By the time they see the banner, the advantage actually will be with Cahul. She sees it first. In she goes. It's going to be Randa Cahul, the first rider in over the line in category 6. She goes through ahead of Claudia Gentili. Gentili takes second place here today as they go in and over the line.
Well, they do indeed, and we drop back in with category 5. And at the moment, Elena Lopez is pushing off the front on the climb. They're at 39.7 kilometers, 39.8, 700 meters to go now until the finish line. And Lopez has put in one huge attack. Could well be the attack to take the polka dot skin suit, could well be the attack to take the win. But at the moment, it's Tejeros, Smithson, and Marshall who are doing the chasing. Charlebois is there as well. Rachel Kennedy a little bit further back with Valentina Quintero. But Elena Lopez pushing on 6 seconds clear at the moment. The battle, though, is behind for second. I'm not sure they can make the catch for the win.
It's going to be a big ask here as they come around onto these turns. Remember, it is all the way to 40.5k. So basically, you've got that long 700-meter run from the polka dot banner up to the finishing arch. And it's a tricky finish, as we saw there for Gentili and Cahul, the first 2 riders in over the line here on qualifier race number 3 in July. They were in category 6, but this is now the race for the win in category 5. Leading out is Lopez. Behind, though, those riders are still holding 3-4 seconds. You can see them behind the polka dot skin suit of Lopez. Elena Lopez leading the race, the fastest rider on the climb. She's going to take away the win in the climbs competition overall, because it is that one climb here today. Smithson leading the charge from Marshall, Shelbois and Tijeros not able to close the gap at the moment, and Smithson starts to really wind this up here. She's got the target in front. She knows where she'll be. Time is running out though, because we're onto this tight left-hand turn that takes us round to the gantry. Elena Lopez put in the attack. She put in the kick that took her in to the lead and taking the win in the polka dots climbers competition. She takes the win in the race overall. Elena Lopez, your winner in category 5. It's going to be a fine second place for Liz Smithson, just ahead of the sprint between Shelbois and Marshall. They are the riders who come through behind, but a great win there for Lopez in category 5.
Well, category 5 now through and over the line, and take a look at this. 2, 4, 6, 8. I reckon that's got to be 10 category 4 riders coming up into the final. Well, it's the final 900 meters. It's very shortly going to be 800 meters. Philippa Hill is here. Larissa Heiberg, Catherine Montoya, Isabella Restrepo is in the mix, and so are a number of other riders. Kawazuska is there too. She's right on the front of the race at the moment, but Isabella Restrepo is in the mix as well. Kawazuska putting in a massive dig to go underneath that polka dot banner. She probably, I think, wants that polka dot skin suit, but she's not going to get it. Larissa Heiber is the rider in the polka dots now. Kawazuska, Restrepo, Hill, they're all lining up and pushing, and the push is coming because this is the run to the finish.
So you can see Larissa Heiberg wearing that polka dot skin suit at the moment, has got to keep her eye on what's happening on the front. Isabel Restrepo leading this out at the moment. She's got the gap, but as we've seen, this is about getting your timing right. So Restrepo, a rider who took 4th place last week, will Restrepo be able to push clear? Will she be able to move clear of the rest of the riders? This is going to be key here. What can Isabel Restrepo do? Can she hold on? A kick comes. Heiberg now moves over the top. She's got the race lead here. The climber winner at the moment has got the front of the race, and I think surely Heiberg, with her climbing ability, is not going to relinquish this easily. The gap is there. She pushes on. She's now into that tight left-hand turn. Her best position so far. Well, she's not had a podium in the races on the Sunday Race Club. This is going to be her first podium, and she's going to take away a win here today on the Sunday Race Club, because nobody's going to touch it. She can enjoy the run underneath the gantry. Larissa Heiberg, your race winner, her first win here on the Sunday Race Club on MyWhoosh. She does it in qualifier race number 3. Immediately behind her, I think that was Philippa Hill, followed by Isabella Restrepo, and then it was Montoya and Vochkova who came through, rounding out the top 5.
It was indeed, and Heiberg, 12 participations in the Sunday Race Club. First win. Great to see. Well, Kate McLeod has had more participations than that, and she's already taken her first win, but she's going for her second here. Anne-Marie Lip is pushing on. So is Jen Reel and Stefani Sanchez. Emily Sony Litton, they are all in the charge, but the rider they are chasing is McLeod. She's got 100 meters to go around the corner. She will turn, and the finish line is there. This is great racing from Kate McLeod. She's got her timing to perfection.
Here she comes. It's going to be Kate McLeod taking her second race victory on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. McLeod goes over the line in first place. It's going to be Anne-Marie Lip who takes second. I think that was Jen Reel taking away third place as they came over the line, with Brittany Litton in 4th and Stefani Sanchez rounding out the top 5 in category 3. Big pack coming through already, having seen. I've just seen, I think we're now up to 13, if not 14 riders having gone over the line.
11 seconds separating the top 13 riders in category 3. It's McLeod from Lip, Reel, Litton, Sanchez Soper, Lucas Rees, Bennett Bergin, McAlpine Benilla, and Nielsen, the top 13 riders within 11 seconds.
Now, let's just give you a quick heads up on where we are with categories 2 and 1. Category 2 and 1 on your screen at the moment. We're in with Alice Lethbridge on the right-hand side of your screen in category 2. They are on to the climb. Our leader in category 1 is a sole leader, Nicole Mayer, who's gone clear at the front of the category 1 race, has got I think it's single digits at the moment in terms of race lead, in terms of seconds from this group who just got underneath the banner now. At the moment, though, Mayer has got the gap, and that is dangerous because Mayer can climb. We've seen her put in some real big shifts before, really working hard, but you've got so many riders behind, and they're still carrying pace. They're still traveling over 30 kilometers an hour in category 1, and that means that they are still have the advantage of that draft speed now just starting to come off as that gradient bites.
Well, for me, category 1 today has all been about the team competition. Ablock International putting that attack in early, then eventually coming back into the fold at around the 14-kilometer marker. Mayer from the Sweat Sensations, and we know the Sweat Sensations play team tactics too, and they play team tactics really strongly. Nicole Mayer from that Sweat Sensations squad, the gap is around 20 seconds at the moment. That is enough, I think, for Mayer to win if she has the legs to hold off the world champion.
That's a big if. That's a big if.
I'm willing her. I'm willing her to the top.
Well, indeed,
she's not taken a win before.
It would be really good to see Mayer take the win. I don't disagree, and I always love a rider who's prepared to gamble, to have a go. We were lucky enough to be down on the mic, both Emma and myself, in fact, for the Sheffield Grand Prix, the National Circuit Series last Wednesday in the UK, on stage doing the speaker role and the commentary role, and we saw lots of riders clear for the race win, and that was really, really impressive. I really, really love to see that then. I'd love to see the same thing now. Mayer is doing that. She's really gone hard here. 15 seconds the gap at the moment.
Well, she is continuing to push and continuing to charge. She's still got some way at the 36.5-kilometer marker. 4K still to go. Can she hold that gap for 4K? Well, it's her teammate Catherine Fuhr and Gabby Guerra, those two who are at the front of the pack behind. The gap 12 seconds at the moment, and interesting to see Fuhr and Guerra, Holdcroft and McCarthy. Well, Holdcroft now coming to the fore and picking up the pace, but instantly the pace comes off. This is interesting. Is everybody in the pack watching each other and not watching Nicole Mayer?
Well, we will see. Will it be the day of the escapee on the front? There may be something in the air for lone escapees. I don't want to give you any spoils on yesterday, but the Tour de France, I might have stopped up late watching that after we'd done all of the prep work for the racing here today. But here we have 2 categories left to go. Remember, of course, unlike the Tour where you only have 1, we have 6 categories in both our women's and men's races. And at the moment, category 2 and our category 1 leaders making the way up this climb, coming in towards the finish. That finish at 40.5 kilometers. And you can see just how aggressive the racing was in categories 6, 5, 4, and 3 because of the pace that they've taken in and through the gap that they've got. Now, category 1 for me, I think that they're leaving this very late. Category 2, move on now. An attack goes off the front. Jay Atkin at the moment has got the little bit of the spring in the step, but took a clear, but closed down very quickly. So has Penner. Lethbridge Karamani. That would be an interesting name to have at the top of the standings. It would not surprise me at all. Stevenson in here. Roach. Giovanni, a fantastic climber. Norden coming back into form. Australian champion Trudin in here. I mean, this is so hard to call. My Shandy, another rider who's got climbing ability to burn as well.
Can I tell you something? Jay Atkin came into the Sunday Race Club very, very recently. Another one of the riders recruited by our current world champion, Kate McCarthy. So a rider from New Zealand coming into the mix with some fabulous previous form out on the road in New Zealand. I think this is her 3rd or 4th Sunday Race Club, but she really is now getting into the swing of things, and she's right on the front of the mix in the Category 2 race. Now, interestingly, that Category 2 race are only, I think, around 400 metres ahead of the pack on the left-hand side of your screen, and that is the leading group in Category 1. This could could come together in the final 2,000 metres?
I think it's almost a given gap, and given the pace and given the speed of those riders coming through, I think we are going to see Category 1 come up on to Category 2. Now, you said, could the riders on the front hold off McCarthy? McCarthy has gone over the top of Mayer. With her goes Guerra and Fua and Bruni. Now Tomasi. Holcross gone over the top. Mayer has capitulated and has been caught by this group. They pulled that gap back almost at will. McCarthy putting the pressure on. Guerra goes with her. Fua kicks on the left-hand side there to get back on terms and goes over the top here into the race lead. So at the moment, they are your three leading riders in Category 1 on the left-hand side of your screen. You have got the rider without the helmet there with the dark hair. That is Gabby Guerra. You've got Kate McCarthy in the World Champions jersey. And then the rider with the white helmet of these three, that is Catherine Fua.
Well, I can tell you the current course record here on the Hidaria Ascend course is 63 minutes 39 seconds. And taking a look at that Category 1 pack, I think that course record could go today. It's held by Kate McCarthy. Will she pick it up, or will someone else take that record from her?
Well, we'll have to find out. It's a little bit further for Category 1 than it is for Category 2, who are just ahead at the moment. Jay Atkins at the moment moving through, clearly made an impact on her previous participations, and really interesting to see how she's going at the moment on this climb right at the front of affairs, with Sophie Giovanni making her way up in the mix here. Moroz is in here now. Camilla Moroz, a rider who often gets not so much neglected, but maybe just overlooked slightly on the basis of her results. And she's a fantastic result. She's got some great results. She's a sort of rider who we know can take away the win, but often sits out of the way until the very last moment. And great timing. We talked about pacing, about keeping your powder dry, really making sure that you use that energy when you need it. Moroz is a rider that does that with absolute skill.
She is indeed, and it's a really good roundup of her skill set. And Camilla Moroz, part and parcel of that, as the pack go underneath the polka dot banner, signifying the end of the climbing segment. Sophie Giovanni picks up the polka dot skin suit on the right-hand side of your screen. On the left-hand side of your screen, whilst Category 2 run for the line, it's the world champion, Kate McCarthy, running away from the rest of the Category 1 pack.
So McCarthy going clear in Category at a moment. She should be able to take the climb points as well. Two now come in. Alice Lethbridge leading this out from Garea, from Roche, and Colcom mobbing over the top here of Lethbridge. Roche with a fantastic kick here. Penna is in, and Penna can sprint. She's got some superb power here into this left-hand turn. Penna leading from Roche. It's a long drag now, so you've got to have that long burn. You've got to be able to kick, to hold, and then kick again. This run at the moment, 200 meters now to the line. Penna holding the front from Moroz. Moroz, a rider who's taken 3 wins so far. She's got a 3rd place, but can she answer the power of Penna? Penna into this left-hand turn here. Tiffany Penna comes up to the line. She goes underneath the gantry. It is Tiffany Penna who takes away the win here today. That makes it 5 wins for Penna at the Sunday Race Club. Great win. Penna from Van der Vliet, from Leinen, from Roche as they came to the line. Now here comes Mary Kate McCarthy, the world champion, and now the climb winner here on the race. McCarthy comes around that left-hand turn. Mary Kate McCarthy, your world champion, takes away the win on qualifier race number 3. You can see the sprint is on behind Guerra versus further. We've got Holcroft in the mix as well. Tomasi comes up to the line. McCarthy takes the win. Guerra in 2nd, Fua in 3rd, Holcroft in 4th, Tomasi in 5th as they hit the line, subject to verification because they just come in so quick there. A fantastic win. McCarthy, Mary Kate McCarthy, initial attack at the very start of the race, went off the front, and then we saw them coming back together mid-race. Nicole Mayer goes over the line ahead of Van Heuling, then Gallegos going through ahead of Anna Caramello. Caramello having a fantastic race last time round, and another good performance from her here today. The riders in our racing just enjoying that little roll round the top here before they run back down again. I'm sure all those riders staying on game and rolling back down to get the distance in.
Well, can I tell you, that was so quick today. It really, really was. The top 12 riders in the Category 1 race. In fact, the top 13, because Marlene Biarhead has just come through, all 13 of the Category 1 riders in at the moment have smashed the course record.
So brilliant to see the pace today, the pace picking up, of course, as we head into Warsaw finals that are coming next week. Mary Kate McCarthy, your race winner, 1 hour, 1 minute, 59 seconds. Behind Gabby Guerra coming through 2.779 seconds behind in second. And Catherine Furr taking third place, 2.964 seconds down on our race winner. Fourth place was Holcroft. Fifth was Tomasi to round out our top 5. The full results are on MyWhoosh.com. Don't forget, you can go on there to download the app on iOS, on Android, as well as on Windows. Do make sure you download, jump on board, and come have a ride. Give it a go. You never know. You might be racing the Sunday Race Club very shortly indeed. My name's Matt Payne. You can follow me at Matt Fixer Payne. You can follow Emma Martin at biking_Emma. And don't forget to follow MyWhoosh. It's at MyWhoosh on Instagram and on Facebook. And whilst you're online, make sure you tick that subscribe button and maybe even tell a friend to come and watch the Sunday Race Club. The more of you there are, the more fun it is for everybody. We love to bring you the race action. We've just brought you the women's race. Coming up next will be the men's race. And of course, once that's done, that's all of our qualifiers done before we move on to our finals next week. But time for us to take a break. Thank you very much, the riders, for keeping us so fantastic. Those fantastic, very different today.
Brilliant.
Thank you to the team behind the scenes for bringing all of the shows to you. But thank you very much to everybody for watching. But from Emma and myself, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back shortly. We'll see you soon.
Goodbye.
So hello and welcome back to the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club Qualifier race number 3. We've just had an amazing women's race. We're back for the men's. It's the last of our qualifiers. My name's Matt Payne. I'm here with Emma Martin in the studio, putting words to the action. And plenty of superlatives needing to be used for the women's race because it was so good and very, very different tactics than that which we maybe would have predicted. Do you think we're going to get that same almost surprise here?
Well, I hope so, because we're going to Japan to the Dragon's Nest course. It is only the third time the men have raced the Dragon's Nest course in Japan. It's 47 kilometres, 512 metres of climbing with constantly changing parkour. Take a look at that. Straight out the pen, up and over the first climb of the day. It's just a short, sharp, small one through the Kyoto Sprint, then a big descent down into the valley bottom before the Dragon's Nest climb. The first time. It does kick, and it kicks very, very steeply. Average gradient, looking at that, 8.8%, but I can tell you 15%, 14%, 12% right at the top. It is steep. Then a short descent before the flat plateau where the Tokyo Sprint sits. Then some climbing with some descent before we go back up the Dragon's Nest again. Then it is a flat run to the Tokyo Sprint for the second time. Then from the end of that sprint, 4.8 kilometres. It's either flat or downhill to the finish line. Expect a long attack? Well, let's take a look and see.
And with that very first climb being so early and being so hard and being a replication of the second climb, because they're basically the same climb that we go around in a big loop, it's going to be really interesting to see whether the race breaks at that point and how that varies between the 6 race categories that we have with us here today. 6 categories on the men's race, 6 categories in the women's racing.
Well, the third time on the Dragon's Nest course in Japan, the third time ever the men's start sheets, over 300 riders.
All the 3s. We will see. Will it be 3 riders in category 6 who make their way into the finish together? It's going to be tough stuff here today. Lots of riders already allocating themselves into teams. BMC High 6 with Fossier and Llewellyn. The Rule 6 squad's got Wakefield in there. BMC 6 has a Truba, Back and Cronje coming together in the BMC 6-ish squad, and Cycling District represented in Category 6 by Sabrino and Silva. Level Carbon with Fielder and Le Contalec, as well as Rabdan with Ibrahim. We've got Spinergy here today, Spinergy with McMurtry and DeManuel. We've got the ZTBR Yanamani squad with Orosso and Vaz and Connell, but the biggest squad is the Wheelies Racing squad. Bianchi, Nielsen, Kozal, Teron, and Sebza. They are your Wheelies Racing squad, the biggest squad of 5 riders. It's time to go racing. On the final qualifier in July, it is race number 3. It's our men's race. Away go the riders. And this race field, Emma, with a lot of riders in the teams, plus a massive race field, it really mixes it up. And look at the size of the bunch.
Well, it's our largest race field today, 61 riders on the start sheets in Category 6. And it is indeed Yuri Nilsson who took the win for the Wheelies Racing squad last week. He is here. So is Brian Jose, who took second place. Leonard Cadabona took third. Fourth was Michael Rademacher. And fifth last week, Peter Connell. So that Category 5 race last week really was fast and furious. Interestingly, Skretting took the sprint competition and Llewellyn took the climbing competition last week. Not part and parcel of the top 5. It's going to be interesting to see what happens here today. But what is happening at the moment is that the pack, well, they're 42 kilometres an hour at the moment and stretched long and thin. This is a fast start and it's causing damage to the group already. Look at that. 3 groups now on the road.
Yep, riders being distanced off the back of the group. If you look to the top right-hand side of your screen, you'll see our radar view as well as the course profile. The radar view with those riders, each rider represented by a purple disc. So this is going to be up there as throughout the duration of the racing. We do as well drop our riders into the racing. We get to see them in person. Now, a quick reminder, if you are racing, please do join that Zoom room. Get those cameras out there. We want to highlight you as a rider. We want to give you the stage. to do that, we need you to follow those instructions. So please, guys, remember, if you're going to be racing and you're going to go in that Zoom room, make sure that you follow the instructions. That includes making sure that the name on your camera matches your name. So if you are Jeff Rooney, make sure it says Jeff Rooney up there, not
We'd
Joe
love more
Vlogs.
riders in the Zoom room.
The more riders in there, the better. We always want to see new riders in there. And also, a quick reminder that you need to do what Jeff Rooney does and make sure that you have the camera in a landscape mode. So that's basically flat rather than vertical, so not portrait. So make sure it's long and flat. So basically a landscape view on there, please, if you will. And if you're on something like an iPhone, make sure that auto rotate is on so it follows you when you do put your camera flat. The instructions are up there. The more riders we get to see, like the inside of Jeff Rooney, we would never have known what Jeff Rooney looked like if we hadn't seen him on camera. Well, apart from the fact that we follow him on the internet as well.
Well, we do, but Jeff Rooney's a really interesting character. He wasn't one of he was the first rider ever to Everest on MyWhoosh, and part and parcel, I think, of planning another Everesting attempt at the moment. But it's Fossied at the moment on the front of the pack. And I tell you, this pack, they're up and over that first small climb. They're going to drop down the other side and then through the sprint. This has been a really fast start in this Category 6 race today. Brett McMurtry has come onto the front and backed off the pace slightly. I say backed off the pace slightly. He's still sitting at zone 2, zone 3. Fossied back, Burton, Montoya, all in the mix here. David Milano is there as well, so is Cridland. Really big pack of riders, but the damage has been done early here.
It has. Those groups behind have been distanced, and as they go over the top and into this descent, the lead group will pick up the speed first because they get there first. They then open that gap up. It makes it more difficult. You need to be where the volume of riders are, right up at the front. You can't afford to let a gap go. And if you are behind somebody who does let that gap go, chasing on is going to expend energy if it's at all possible, because the speed pickup is so great. You can see we're doing over 53 kilometers an hour at the moment, and that speed, it really is about keeping the pace up and staying with the group, get distance, and you really have a lot of work to do. You can see solo riders like Yusuf Al Hamadi at the moment, really with work to do to get back into the group. Now, let's see what happens in Category 5. Will they go off as fast as Category 6 did?
Possibly.
We've got some fantastic teams here. Beast Club with Daniel Theme in there. We've got the BMC 5 squad with Agadello in there as well. The Cycling District 5 have got 4 riders. One of our 2 big teams here today, Murato and Merencio, along with Castro and Sicilianus. Now, we've got the first squad with Young. We've got Level with Hagland, Level Avengers with the Calangad, Level Racing, represented by SWAT and Allport. Level Up are here. Now, our biggest squad, along with Cycling District 5 with Mountier, Peterson, along with Warren and Bertrand. Upcycle with Drummond and Palaka, and of course, the Cherubus and E-Cycling and 5, all 4s at TBR. But teams are going to come in to play more next week in our finals. The riders just getting those teams down nice and early, which is great to see. Another big race field, another fast kick out here. We're already starting to see it strung out, but maybe not quite as electric just yet, he says, as we see Denisenko go on to the front and wind it up at 6.5, nearly 7 watts per kilo. Vargas having to do 8 to respond to this. I think there's something in those pens at the moment. Maybe there's a big hornet's nest or something, because the riders seem to want to leave there at express train speeds. They're going faster than the bullet train at the moment.
Well, Denisenko, Vargas, all the 2 riders pushing on. And Vargas is on the front of the pack, and he's not pushing on as much. In fact, nobody on the front of the group is taking up the mantle. Now I'm starting to see Luke Allport come to the front. That is a man who will chase, but Denisenko is the rider pushing. Allport is the rider now pulling the pack. Interesting group, 58 riders on the start sheets today. Martin Wang, who took the win last week, not on the start sheets today, not having progressed to Category 4. He's just not here, choosing to sit this one out. Philip Strill, who took 2nd, is on the start sheet. So is David Young, who took 3rd. Nicholas Hagland took 5th, and Diego Vargas took 4th. All 4 of those riders are indeed here today. And there's some really interesting riders in the mix. Riley Milostic is here. He currently holds the course record on this course in Category 6 before he was moved up to Category 5. Gavaria is here. Dadson is here. Mads Winter is here. Justin Roy. Joel Warren. Zimael is here. Reinheimer is here as well, one of the newer riders to the Sunday Race Club. Neville Ross, Benjamin Hoy, Daniel Dotto, Rudolph Bertrand is here. He's a strong rider for the Level Up squad. Eben Svart is here as well. Some really strong riding and some strong riders in the mix. Sebastian Wolf is here as well.
So let's see if our two protagonists at the moment, Denisenko and Allport, can keep this pace all the way over the top of this first riser. You can see they're just coming up on the bank here. You can see the ground descending behind them. The pack are chasing hard here to stay with Allport, who's now on the front. Denisenko getting swallowed up by that pack. And as they go over the top, Allport really making it hard from the gun here. Kicks up over the top. He keeps that pressure on. He's going to keep it all the way over the top. It's a massive effort here. It's early, but he's got the time to put a bit of recovery. And I tell you something, it has done the same, I think, here to the legs of the riders in category 5, even if it hasn't maybe split the group as much as we saw in category 6. Category 6 at the moment, just descending through that bamboo forest and the left-hand side of your screen. The main screen at the moment, though, you can see here category 5. There are one or two riders in trouble here, Emma, but they're not. It's not over for as many riders.
No, it's one big long line at the moment in this category 5 pack. One rider distance off the back, but I'll tell you something. They're about to come into the descent, and well, my question is, are they going to do a farm Watts? You know what a farm Watts now is, don't you?
A farm Watts is now attacking on the descent, clearly.
Yes. Which I think we should name it and give it a clear boundaries as to the key tactic of an individual rider.
As an academic, you like that, don't you? Clear, defined boundaries.
Well, sometimes that's good. It's
definition.
Also an analogy is good.
Okay, so to Allport is to attack off the front of the group, particularly in the early stages of the race, to try and get a gap. Now the second of the MyWhoosh vocabulary uni is to farm Watts. To farm Watts is to use the attack on the descent. Will Yusuf Al Hamadi be able to do that?
Look.
And I am absolutely loving. I'm waving. Not that anybody can see me, but I'm waving.
That is so cool.
Super cool dude in the background.
I
They're keeping an eye on the riders there.
But look at that mini turbo, mini
bike.
Absolutely brilliant. I do think there's some backward pedaling going on while breakfast is being eaten. But can I just say, Al Hamadi family, absolutely excellent.
Full marks if we had a award for.
Oh, they'd get 11 out of 10 for that.
They would indeed. Let's move on now up through the categories. Category 4, because BMC Racing represented in this as well. BMC Racing with Pino and Giuliano. Cycling District 4 represented by Oliveira and Pierre. We've got Inner Fight represented by Barchowski, Level Golden 4 by the Rimborg and Philo duo. The MyWhoosh info are here. I'm loving the fact that Jakub Wojciech, the absolute inspiration behind the website, has got the name in there. There is the backstory we might bring you a little bit later. Ride Club Finland in here with Rusty Mackie and Team Velos Chile represented by Montiel. We're just in with Mohamed Mukhtari as we leave the pens here in category 4. Big kick off, and again, this fast flat start here really just starting to wind riders up, but they know that they've got this rise coming, and with this rise coming, it's really, really critical to be in the group. Everybody wants to be in there, and that is seeming to put the pressure on the riders. The group have come out as one. We sweep to the left, to the right, to the left, to the right. Then we go over this little riser, and at the moment, 43 kilometers an hour on the flat as we kick away. Half a kilometre covered, and we're doing best part of 45k an hour.
It's brilliant, isn't it? So 52 riders on the start sheets in category 4 today. Trent Stevenson, who took the win last week, is here. So is Paolo Kirchner, who took 3rd, and Jose Oviedo, who took 5th. Pedancini and El Alami not choosing to race today. But there are a lot of riders on this start sheet here. Van der Zandt, Jones, Harvey, Yannicki, Moreno, Brune, Montoya, Joseph Miller is here. Mohamed Mukhtari, who you talked about as well. Owen Gordon, a new name to the Sunday Race Club. Robin Clendenin, the infamous Toronto bike courier.
Indeed. Indeed, infamous is a dangerous term, but
no, I think it's a good term because he has indeed gone head to head with bike couriers from other cities. Bike courier racing is a thing, you know.
I've known that for several decades.
I'm just telling you.
Bike courier racing is absolutely crazy. I was going to say mental, but it is that too. It's absolutely
Well,
fast. It's
Robin
furious.
Clendenin is indeed a
Yes.
bike courier racer.
Good skills required to be a bike courier. Very interesting career. Thought about it at one point as a career choice. Decided I probably wasn't brave enough to do that, I have to say. Just whilst everyone was running through the riders in Category 4, we did see the riders in Category 6 going for the sprint. So let's bring you some results from the Category 5 and Category 6 riders going through the sprint. Category 6 going through our Kyoto sprint. The sprint taken by Skretting, taking 5 points. Fossier taking 4 points in second. Sebsa taking 3 points in third. Vasanen taking 2 points in fourth, and the fifth place going to Demanian. He takes 1 point. That's in Category 6. In Category 5, Joel Warren taking the fastest time with 5 points. Evans Fort taking 4 points in second. Cirillo taking 3 points in third. Tapia taking 2 points in fourth place. And Kriwanos taking 1 point in seventh place. Sorry, in fifth place. What am I talking about? In fifth place. Teach me to read the screens too closely. 5 points from 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1 for first, second, third, fourth, and fifth place, respectively. 2 sets of riders through that Kyoto sprint that kicks in at 4.1k. And at the moment, category 4 at the moment, currently approaching 2k to go. They've just gone over the top of the climb. But you know what? It's done the same. It's strung it out. It's not been decisive in terms of winning, but it's done damage to legs.
There's 1 or 2 riders who are going to have to push really hard to get back on at the moment. And Mackie and Flores, Robinson, Mkhitaryan and Marin are right up the front. So is Ryan Giuliano. Now, for me, Ryan Giuliano is one of those riders that nobody should discount. He has quiet weeks.
Yeah.
He has strong weeks. And when he has a strong week, he really does push and push hard. Now, Stefano Radelli is the rider on the screen at the moment. He's in the middle of this pack and actually to the fore of this Category 4 group at the moment. We're in with the Pain Cave as well, a much smaller screen than sometimes we see, racing off an iPad.
Indeed. And good to see Stefano Radielli in here. I wonder if he's just related to the Radiellis who are the BMX Radiellis.
Who knows?
Because if he has, he'll have a phenomenal sprint and a great kick on him. But we will have to see. This is his first Sunday Race Club. So welcome, Stefano, to the Sunday Race Club. Now, let's go over to our next step up the ladder into Category 3, in with the Anzac squads, with Patrick Bloom, with BMC4, with Timothy Brook. We have got Level Golden 3 with Morgan and Lena Sandstorm with Batty. But we have squads with 3 and 4 riders respectively. 3 riders in Cycling District 3, and that is Gomez de Almeida and Drud and Coimbra. But we also have the What's Up squad here today. Montoya, Sure, Arago and Clays, a force to be reckoned with. What's up? Well, let's see how many watts they can drop as they go out from the start here. This is about hitting those pedals, about getting the power down and accelerating up quickly, because we've seen what's happened in our preceding categories. You've got to be on the wheels. You've got to be in the draft because this start is so quick. And we're seeing that once again. 35 kilometers an hour, 37, 38. We still only covered just over 100 meters here. 200 meters now covered. 39k an hour. Really, really fast acceleration here in Category 3. 1 rider on the front dialing, the rest of the riders getting the pace down there. A little bit smaller in terms of the actual field size, but not a huge amount.
Slightly. Category 3, 52 riders on the start sheets today. And the winner from last week, Pedro Piera, has gone up to Category 2, the Cycling District squad rider. Really good to see him move up and progress. And Cycling District, one of those teams that has teams in all of the categories. So enabling the riders to move, yet stay on the same squad. Really great to see. It leaves Nick Scolari, who took second place. He's in the mix today in Category 3. So is Damon Kiesnowski, who took third place. Mathieu Kalman took fourth. And Ricky Kittle took 5th place last week. They are all in the mix right now. Karol Sledek is here, as well as Rafael Amaro, Nicholas Orrego, Jay Dutton is here too. This pack at the moment rolling and rolling strongly, and everybody wanting to be right near the front of the group. There's not as much stretch on the group as we've seen earlier, but we are yet to come into the first climb.
Well, no sooner said than done, because the gradient just kicks in as Emma says that, and you can see MyWhoosh out of the saddle here as the gradient pulls to 3.5% on that first part of this kicker. Little bit of a rise as you just come away from the water's side here, and we start to ascend up this roadway, the block paving here, just underneath the rider's wheels. MyWhoosh out of the saddle. It's a short climb here. It's not long enough to need to sit in and just tap a rhythm, but interestingly, a lot of the riders out of the saddle all the way from bottom to top. We saw Luke Allport put in a big, big move up here. He was out of the saddle, kicking down hard all the way over the top here. Big power, big acceleration. Here in category 3, nobody's able to break this group apart at the moment. They are all very close together indeed. You can see that on the top right-hand side of your screen, where the radar view is. You can see the profile rolling across from right to left. Nick Scolari sat comfortably in this group. The pressure on the front of the group. Scolari, one of those riders, sat down, he's back out the saddle, drops back down again. He's trying to keep those revs high, just holding position here, not wanting to let any gaps go, as are all the rest of the group. And as they come over the top here, the gradient starts to ease. The riders are going to regroup very much into one big pack. Nowhere near as stretched as we saw in the preceding groups. Less riders as well, so less draft effect available. But interesting to see that group go through. Now, we're going to go up to the very front of the race here as we go across on our screens to category 6 with Peter Cridland, the rider at the front here. 3-second gap to John back leading the rest of this long group. It is strung out here because this is the first time up our climb. The climb starts at 11.7k, so you can see at the moment we're not yet 1k into this climb. The total distance of the climb, 2 kilometers long, average gradient of 8.8%, but as you can see, we're on a 12% section here pretty much as they go over. Now it just starts to drop a little bit, but we're going to see it kick again.
We are indeed, and I'll tell you something, when it drops to 2.6%, it will feel like it is flat. And you can see the group coming back together again, going wide across the road after a long stretch. And we're in with Simon Llewellyn at the moment. He's in that chasing group. 2 riders clear just off the front, and the big pack now trying to really come back together. The gradient very quickly going back up skywards. It's now over 11% again, and we can see Llewellyn up and out of the saddle. Concentration on his face, wanting to make sure he stays in the right place. He'll want to go over the top in contention with the group, ideally with a small enough gap to the front to close that down on the descent and the flat transition.
So the riders up on to this climb and well and truly making the way up here. Really interesting the way that they're getting this pacing. That's category 6. They are leading on the road at the moment. Category 5 at the moment. Luke Allport is doing an Allport at the moment, trying to go clear on the front before we go into this climb. He'll come around this right-hand turn, and then as he goes across from one side of the edge of the lake here to the other, the boardwalk just spanning its way across. And when you reach the shore on the other side, that's where the banner is. That's where Allport is. He's onto the climb. The chasing group behind are coming behind him. They've got to get themselves into position. They want to be holding a wheel at the moment. The speed's still 35 kilometers an hour. And really, really critical at the moment to keep that positioning as you go on here. You don't want to get distance at the early stages. It's a long way to be on your own. Allport at the moment just starting to lose ground. The pack starting to come up behind him here. We've a long way up to the top of the Dragon Nest climb here today. And the moment we get to the top, it's very quickly downhill. So really key to be in the group as you go over the top. It's a knife edge summit.
Oh, I was going to say that. That was
Sorry.
my phrase.
I think you'll
Could you
find...
pass it back to me?
I don't know. I might need it again in a few kilometres
Okay.
time, like at about 37.6k.
Well, the Category 3 pack rolling now at the 4.2 kilometre marker. This is the sprint, the Kyoto sprint, and the riders pushing on. And we're seeing Walter Clays here and Adrian Alvarado pushing to. The question is, who's going to take the sprint in Category 3? Wow, Walter Clays is the rider who picks up the green skin suit at the moment. Interestingly, Didutch pushing on behind, Rick Van Erck as well. Now, this is interesting because Clays has got the draft and the momentum right on this sprint. Average watts, 12.5. Andre Didutch behind, 15.5 watts per kilo. Average through that sprint. Rick Van Erck, 13.8. Patrick Bloom, 14.3. Congratulations go to Walter Clays, setting the fastest time, utilising the draft and momentum to his advantage. Do indeed love that when we see the dynamics working strongly, and Clay's just showing us what a pro he is on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. He's one of those riders who is ever present and really is a strong rider and racer, often not coming to the fore till the end. David Young on our screen at the moment, the rider from the USA. Very early morning for David Young over in the States. Good morning, David. Part and parcel of this Category 5 pack and right to the fore where he needs to be. Just up and out the saddle, pushing on. The gradient, well, it really is kicking at the moment.
This 12.5%, 13% section here really makes the legs hurt when you ride over the top, the turbo's really kicking in there, and you can just see the riders as they went in there really starting to feel that. A little bit further along, you can see the moment the further back, the 9.6k. This is the drop down into towards the lake side at the moment in Category 4. Nicholas Spratt, Mason Rocker with a gap back at the moment. They just need to keep this gap here. I think this is going to give them some sliding room. The big group behind are a long way back here. This is a good size gap. 10 seconds on the descent is a long distance. Yeah, the further the faster you go, the further the gap will be.
And I'll tell you something, Nicholas Spratt is a rider to watch on this course. He took 5th place when we were here in the May final in Category 4. It is his type of course. And Mason Rocker, the rider he is with, again, another punchy rider. Rocker and Spratt could, if they work together, go clear on this course.
I would love to see that. Somebody break away on the first descent, stay clear all the way into the finish. Very difficult to do, but just because something's difficult doesn't make it impossible. It doesn't. So will they be able to do that? The gap at the moment, 9 seconds. I suggest they need more. The riders tend to know how much gap they need to stay clear. And so we're going to drop in with Category 2. So we have had our groups go clear and out from the start in 6, 5, 4, and 3. This is Category 2, the Abu Dhabi team represented by Ivan Nuki here today. In the Cycling District 2 squad, the second biggest of our teams here today with Brignall, Pinto, Machado, and Pierre. That is 4 riders. The team with the most, well, they are the smartest: Bengston, Betty, Ritter, Damsgaard, and Walter. The Hitmen have 2 riders here today, and we saw some Hitmen-esque tactics going on in the women's race. I'll let you watch that back, though, to find out what they were. Coyston and Nair riding for the Hitmen. The UAE Falcons are here with Altanaji and Hamden. And, of course, the UAE clan team, Mr. X100, Pablo Popovic, and SS, all down on our start sheets, all due to take to the start. Category 2, poised, ready to spring out. Will they be a fiery dragon today, or will they find themselves extinguished on the run through to the climb that is the Dragon's Nest climb? Well,
last time the Category 2 men were on the Dragon's Nest climb in May, 1 second separated the top 14 riders. And today, well, 55 riders on that start sheet. Peter Milostic took the win last week in Belgium. That was a cracker. Jeffrey Malure took 2nd place. Marcin Wozniak took 3rd. Phil Graves took 4th. And Jonas Bjarhead took 5th. That was a huge finish with around 11 riders last week. In the mix today, Cam Winfield is here, Bert Cahan, Bruce Bird, These are riders I would never discount on a course like this. Dylan Kennett is here. Jamie Cahill is here. Khan Kayan, another rider. Lucas Hayland tells me he's going to ride the course slightly differently this week. Benjamin Brignall is in the mix as well. And we can see him on the screen at the moment. Multiple screens surrounding Brignall. Look at the screen surrounding that Canadian rider. I'm just trying to do a count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm counting, I think, 5 screens in that pain cave.
Potentially 6. Potentially. Yeah. At least 5. Fantastic. Nice setup there. Always like a multi-screen setup on the show. I think we're slightly down on screens here today in the studio. We've only got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different things to watch simultaneously.
Well, who needs more than 2 eyes in your head?
Well, there's some pilots can are trained so that their eyes go in different directions, so they can see different things in different directions. So you actually train their eyes to go different directions and read things in different places.
Do you know what? If anybody else is like me, they're now trying to go to send one eye in one direction and one in the other, and it's actually really tricky.
It is, but it's a really good skill if you can nail it. Apparently, so I can't.
Trying to look.
I can get close, but I can't quite manage it.
Okay. While I'm trying to look left out of my right eye and right out of my left eye and cross them over.
No, do it the other way. Go diverge.
Anyway, category 2 are moving, and they really are moving because they're at the 1.4 kilometre marker. They're on the first short climb of the day. It is Josel Betty who's pushing on. Michael Manchando, Zach Patterson, all in the mix. Brignall is there, so is Nair. And Ken Don is there too. And it's Bert Kane who's at the front of the group at the moment as well. But it's Betty they are all chasing.
So Giselle Betty, a real force to be reckoned with when the course goes uphill, when the battles are on. A fantastic rider on the front of this climb. And at the moment, Michel Machado, the Portuguese rider, trying to keep that gap to a minimum. He's the lead chaser at the moment, and he's got a slight gap back to Benjamin Brignall. Betty, though, over the top here, he's onto that flatter section. You can just see, just easing off on those pedals. He's looking to see what damage he's done to the group. There are riders that have been distanced from the main pack. The main pack has broken, and there's plenty. If you've got 1 or 2 riders off the back, it's a surefire sign there's a lot of people with some very sore legs, all because of that attack, that move put in there by Josiah Betty that has seen him go clear. He's now joined by more and more riders, but it's quite fractured here, even at the very front of the pack.
Well, it's an interesting move, isn't it? Because I was just taking a look at where Lucas Hayland was, just making sure he was in the draft and was reserving some energy. And he's pushed on a little bit here, part and parcel of this leading group. So Betty, Manchando, Hayland, Wozniak, Simmons, Brignall, all in this leading group here with a bit of a gap back to the chasing group. Sometimes it's hard to trust the draft and to trust other riders to close gaps down. Because sometimes in terms of tactics, you need to let other people play the race out whilst you hold your nerve. It's a really difficult thing to do.
I was going to go down a rabbit warren of trust issues, but let's not go there. Let's go across to category 1 here today to our squads. We have our biggest squads with us once again. The Alpha Jaws squad with 4 riders: Daniel Turek, Elena Vajasin, Mikhail Kaminsky, and Ollie Jones. We have the Boss Moves Only squad. It is Jason Osborne, the world champion, Michael Nussen, Mikhail Fink, and Say Safrazadi. Farm Watts squad: Andreasen, Pucker, and Harris. And of course, Farm Watts verb being employed today, I'm sure, at some point. The HCNSVE squad with Yunfei Wu. We've got Union of Speed with Joel Lewis, and now Peterson representing the Wenger boys. The very last wave of riders are going to take the start. Away they go here in qualifier race at number 3, the last qualifier, the last wave of riders. We are out en route here in Japan on the Dragon's Nest race route, 47 kilometers, 512 meters of ascent.
The avenue of cherry blossom as you leave the start pen. Absolutely fabulous here in Japan. Well, the Category 1 riders leaving the start pen today, 29 riders on the start sheets. Jason Osborne took the win last week. Michael Vink, his teammate on that Boss Moves Only squad, was in second. Wu took third, Pucker took fourth, and Ollie Jones from Alphajaw took fifth. Michael Vink holds the course record on this course in Japan, 64 minutes 50 seconds. Michael Vink set that back in March, actually, and March was the first time we raced the Dragon's Nest. Now, that is surprising. A little bit of a ooh moment for Emma, because normally the first time out is never the fastest finish time. But at the moment it is. But today is only the third time the men have raced on this Dragon's Nest route. Today could well be quicker. Well, quick at the moment is indeed this Category 2 pack, and that's 4 riders side by side charging through that sprint section. And it's going to be interesting to see the Kyoto sprint, where those Category 2 riders end up. Well, I can tell you, they don't end up at the top of the table, because the fastest time still being set by Welter Clays in Category 3. But Lucas Hoffman, Olivier Simmons, Cam Winfield, well, they went neck and neck, and Andrew Downey was in there as well. And it is indeed Hoffman who came out on top.
Great riding, modern, sir. Indeed, the Hoff strikes again. Lucas Hoffman doing the business here today, legendary rider. Now, we're going to go dive in with Category 1. Daniel Chirek, one of our aggressive attacking riders on the front of the race here. Very interesting move as they come up over the top. This is that initial kicker as they come up here at 1.5K. And Panizza, Andreasen, and Chirek have gone clear at the front. Looks like Godazzi at the moment, the rider behind, leading the chase as such. I think the bunch are going to be. You said you talked earlier on about trusting the rest of the group to chase, trusting the draft to work.
Yeah.
I think this is a prime example, because if you're in this chasing pack, and it is still the pack, you have strength in numbers. And are we going to see the group pull back the leaders by using the strength of draft in a big group versus the strength of draft in a smaller group to bring the group back together? Because I think that's what we're going to see. We're going to go over the top here. The big pack has the advantage, more riders, more draft, more speed, and they can use that without expending more energy to bring back riders in from who are having to work harder to get that speed.
Do you know, I paused then.
You did it. That was a pause.
It was a pause.
There you are.
I was going to say,
a prime example of a pause.
Yeah, it was indeed. Now, team tactics, I think, are really interesting at this point in time when we talk about trust and we talk about waiting to see who's going to pull on the front of the pack. Next week is the monthly final where the team competition really comes into play. But utilising teammates. So we've got 3 different riders down the road. We've got Daniel Chirek from the Alphajaw squad. We've got Bjorn Andreasen from the Farmwatt squad. And we've got Ricardo Panizza down the road, who, if my mind serves me right, normally rides for the Wenger boys.
Yes.
So 3 different teams technically have a rider down the road. Now, none of those teams will want to do the chasing. Well, because they've got a rider down the road. So it relies on one of the other teams to send someone to the front of the group to chase it down. And teams will have riders who it is their job to close the gap and protect riders within their team who may be looking at the win.
Let's see how that progresses. Who is going to do the chasing? It's always a nice place to be when you've got a teammate down the road and you don't have to work hard. You can let everybody else do the work. Now Batty is doing the work here in Category 3. He has gone clear of Bakker by 11 seconds. I'll tell you something, if now Batty could take a solo victory here today, that would be very impressive indeed. But to do so, he's not only got to get over the Dragon's Nest climb clear, and he's got a good gap at the moment. He then has to hold it because we've got that drop down, the run through the Tokyo sprint. We've then got that undulating section, the big drop down to go into Dragon's Nest climb for the second time of asking. Huge move, big push. The Dragon's Nest climb, always tough. It is steep, It's consistently steep. There's very little respite. Even when it eases off, it's not for long. And that means these riders really do need to have that climbing ability engaged. They've really got to push. You could just see that kick absolutely critical. Lots of riders using, because it is warm in a lot of places, using ice vests and similar to keep cool, keep that temperature down, even though their engine is going to be producing loads of heat. Now, we are just back in with category 1. You've seen that the group have come back. Andreasen is the group has gone clear. The ride behind this push is coming, but the group are clear at the front. 12 seconds the gap.
Well, and the question for me is Hayden Pucker, teammate of Bjorn Andreasen, is the one on the front of the pack pushing.
Well, is he pushing or did he just go for the sprint there?
Well, it's a good question, isn't it? Did he go for the sprint? Let's take a look at the sprint, shall we? Because we're on category 1 through that first sprint, and I can tell you, Bjorn Andreasen at the moment has the fastest time through the sprint.
Not for long.
Not for long, because it's all change. Joel Lewis is picking up. Noel Pedersen is picking up. And I'm just taking a look. Oh, Jasper Paradines has come through. Top of the table, 1,095 watts average. That's a flyer.
15.5 watts per kilo. He goes through with a time of 11.068, the fastest time. Very fast times through there. It's a downhill sprint. Not all those riders are able to have a big enough gear, I think, to push massive watts out there. Gearing is really, really key. Now, don't forget, of course, on MyWhoosh, there is virtual shifting as well. So you can use a single sprocket at the back, a single cog at the back, and still be able to change gear, and that allows you to increase the gear. And if you use your gears and the virtual gears, you have almost limitless gears, and that makes a massive difference. And even on these big downhills, you can push, and that's where one of the things that you don't need to worry about here on cycling esports is that you don't need to worry about getting around those turns, around those corners. You're not putting the brakes. It's about when you put the power down, where the resistance is higher, where is that draft. Now, let's drop across to category 2. We're in with Nicholas Trujillo. Another move on the front, SS chasing.
Yeah, he is indeed. And Trujillo pushing on here at the 9-kilometre marker. They're on to the descent down before the first Dragon's Nest climb. And Trujillo, in fact, we're going to drop in with him. There he is on our screen. You can see him up and out the saddle, continuing to put the power down through the pedal. SS is the rider chasing. Jamie Cahill is there, as well as Andrew Downey and Mikel Manchando. The pack is strung behind in category 2. This is such a fast start here, carrying up to 60 kilometres an hour. And it continues to climb onto the descent. One big push, one long line of riders.
You've got to be in it to win it. You need to be in with the leaders when you get into that run. I always suggest, if you are not in the lead group as you go over the Dragon's Nest climb for the second time, you're going to find yourself in big trouble running into the finish. It's a long way. There is a chance to close back down. Jamie Cahill at the moment just looking to get onto the back wheels here of Trujillo and SS. A dangerous move, but he's bringing with him the rest of this group on this downhill. That draft, a really, really big factor. Mr. X100 and SS are both up at the front. You can just see Jamie Cahill there just freewheeling a little bit here, having to put that big move, that big push in, just taking a little bit of a breather as he comes down this downhill into the run through. So Cahill leading through the chase there as they went in category 2. We're back in with category 1. We're in with Michael Vink at the moment. You can see him in person on the left-hand side of your screen. You can see the group on the right-hand side of the screen following in the wheel tracks of Michael Vink. Vink at the moment leading. You can see just turning those pedals around 75 revs per minute. Just a nice, easy stroll out at the moment as he makes his way down here. Michael Vink's heart rate at the moment, 127. We know it goes much higher than that. 74 revs, still kicking out 300 plus watts.
Well, you know, if I was
you're the world's best.
If I was kicking out 300 watts, I'd be sprinting.
But that's the great thing about MyWhoosh. Everybody has somebody to race against. And that's why, for me, the Sunday Race Club is so important, because so many people can race against people of a similar ability in those 6 categories that we now have, rather than the original 3, then 4,
Oh.
now up to 6. Meanwhile, we're back in with Yusuf Al Hamadi. His fan club have just taken a bit of a breather by the look of it. Yusuf not able to take a breather because he's now making his way up this section of the next part of the climb. This is on the plateau top between our 2 climb segments, and there are rises and falls here that are worthy of a climb in their own right, but you can see just how much effort it takes here. Al Hamadi really pushing on. He's looking to close the gap down to Kolbani. If they can get together, if they can get in the wheel tracks of the category 5 riders who've just gone past, and that is Pens, Maurizio, Zimael and co, then they will be able to use them to accelerate onwards. Category 5 blown to pieces. There are riders in small groups all the way around this race route. This is about our biggest group, the leading group.
Well, we did have 18 riders over the top of the first ascent of the Dragon's Nest climb in Category 5. I think we've lost a couple of riders since then. But Hagland, Castro, Loxley, Hagland, Neville Ross in the mix here with Vargas as well. Losey is here too. Evans Fart is there. It's a good sized pack as they're continuing this transition, 22.3 kilometres. As you said, Matt, this is the top section. You go up the Dragon's Nest climb, you transition across, you don't descend, you actually start to climb again. And it is a rolling and changing parkour before the main descent back down into the valley before you got the Dragon's Nest climb again.
It's a bit of FRB.
Flat, rolly, bumpy.
Indeed, we haven't had a bit of FRB for a while.
No, we haven't. And we've had a lot of new riders to the Sunday Race Club since we were last on the FRB course.
Flat rolling bumpy course. One man who loves a bit of flat rolling bumpy, Jason Osborne. In fact, I think Jason Osborne loves it just racing full stop. He's on the attack here. He's realised that maybe he ought to do something about those riders in front and get himself up there. He's trying to do so without taking the rest of the riders with him by going off the front here. Now, he's pushed on. He's got the gap down. He's already pulled some time back on Panizza and co at the front. He's got a gap to the riders behind. He's doing it on the downhill, and that is a very difficult thing to do solo because the draft effect on such a steep section of downhill. It's not like you're just going down a little gradual slope. You're going down a proper downhill. This is super fast. And the group, no matter how good you are, you know, if that draft effect is worth, let's say, 20%, and you want to break clear, you on your own, you have no draft, so you're instantly at a 20% disadvantage. So just to stay at the same distance from them, once you put the attack in, you've got to go 20% harder. That's a huge amount at the top end of this spot, and that's why attacking on the downhill, it's not impossible, but it's difficult to make it stick. Now, onto the climb. This is on the Dragon's Nest climb. This is category 2. This is your leading group of riders. There are riders in 1s and 2s behind this group who will have to continue on towards the finish. Last group of riders up over the top of the Dragon's Nest climb was category 3, led over the top by Niall Batty, who had the race lead over the top. In category 2, we're in with Matthias Van He. I would say, although Matthias Van He's a rider who worked for California and for Belgium, I would suggest absolutely perfect courses for him. This course today, maybe not so much. I think today it's going to be a very impressive ride from Van He if he takes victory today, because I think that it doesn't play to his strengths as much as the others. And I think to take a win in Sunday Race Club, you've got to have a good day, whatever category you're in. In category 2, you've got to have a good day. You've got to be on form, and it's got to go your direction. You've got to get the rub of the green.
Well, that's an interesting phrase. So we did say in category 2, 1 second separated the top 14 when we were on this course in May. The first time we were on this course in March, 3 seconds separated the top 12. So it has always come down to a very, very close race. In May, it was Coinston from BR Head, from Damsgaard, from Thiem, from SS. In March, it was Mayer from Morel, from SS, from Carncaen, from Nair. Olivier Simmons, but it could suit him, this type of course.
He's a great climber. He's got a big kick on him, and I think that will be...
He's a great sprinter as well.
Yeah, and it's likely to come down
to a sprint.
Yeah. A small group sprint, but it's likely to come down to a sprint. And Olivier Simmons, you know, I don't think he's had the results that probably his talent deserves. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's had 16 podiums.
In
So
how
first,
many
second, and third.
participations?
But that's over 133 races. This is 134 Sunday Race Club. He's had 4 wins. Now, if you'd have said to me, how many wins has Olivier Simmons had? I would have said 10.
Oh, so you would have thought him more prolific than he
I
is.
would indeed, because of just how talented he is and how good a kick he is. But he's actually had 6 second places, 6 third places, and 4 wins. So I think realistically, I mean, he's good, but I think he's got the.
He does focus.
He can get better.
He does focus more often on the sprints and the climbing competitions.
Indeed. But I think that opportunity may be more difficult to take here today, given the location of the sprints.
Well, talking about catches, Category 1, Riccardo Panizza is coming back into the pack in Category 1 at the moment. They're on the climb, but deceptively, Turek and Andreasen are still 7 seconds ahead. So the pack is chasing, and they've brought 1 of the 3 back in, 2 still left out. But Osborne, Vink, you see, they really are coming up very, very quickly now onto Andreasen and Turek. That gap is not going to stay a gap for long.
No matter how good you are at climbing, when you've got Jason Osborne and Michael Vink chasing behind, you need to be not just seconds ahead. You can't be 10, 15 seconds ahead on a climb like this. I would suggest you need to be something like 45 seconds clear on this climb to have a chance, not to be guaranteed, but to have a chance of going clear at the front.
Well, just over a quick aside, Category 2 have just gone over the top of this climb. 35 riders in the leading group in Category 2, headed by Josel Betty. He set the fastest time. Cam Winfield, Olivier Simmons, Ivan Newkey, and Carlos Ramirez, the top 5 riders over the climb in Category 2, but 35 riders in total going through and still in contention in Category 2 after the first ascent of the Dragon's Nest climb.
And Josiah Betty, 7 wins so far, 4 second places, 3 third places. It shows you the danger that Josiah Betty is. And up there, right at the front on the climb. And that's an indication for the second time that we reached the Dragon's Nest climb. A quick reminder, we hit that second Dragon's Nest climb at 35.5 kilometres. The riders in Category 1 are still to get to the summit of the Dragon's Nest climb for the first time, and Jason Osborne now on the front with Michael Vink on his wheels, and the gap is opening behind. This is the moment when these 2 riders have the potential to break clear. Van El, Safrazadi, and Co at the moment trying to keep that gap down. Michael Nussen is the rider, though, that was just leading the chase, just been overtaken by Safrazadi, so they are mixing up the chase here behind, but Jason Osborne clearly on form, out of the saddle in terms of avatar form at least. And at the moment, Osborne looking to put some distance into Vink. He will look to take away the climb segment as well. Vink is responding to this. He's not letting this go. 8.5 watts per kilo from Vink to get on the wheels.
I think if you were Osborne, what you'd be wanting is Michael Vink to go with you at this point in time to transition to the base of the Dragon's Nest climb again, and then you would put the kick in. We're in with Michael Vink. Heart rate 175 at the moment. Don't forget, when we were in with him last time, it was 120. So you can see the difference in the work rate at the moment, and the push really on those pedals from Vink, trying to desperately hang on to the back wheel of the world champion Jason Osborne.
Here's a question for you, Emma. As these 2 riders go up here, when they get to the top, would they, if this were you, would you sit up, let the group come back together, because you know you can drop these riders on the Dragon's Nest climb the second time of asking, and then rest? Because can I just put this?
Don't ask me a question and then
I haven't got to, because does this not then play to being able to put in the efforts that are required, those repeated efforts against competition when we come to the World Championships?
Well, I'm going back to your original question.
No, it's a 2-stage question.
Is it?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
It's a stage race of a question.
Okay, well, the first part of the question is, what would you sit up and let the group catch? I think there's 2 strategies here. First of all, the Jason Osborne, Michael Vink breakaway, where the 2 riders work together and move away, and then one of them attacks on the climb at the end, which I think will be Jason Osborne. Or there's the second tactic, which is exactly what you've said. We've seen how much we can do damage on the first. Let's sit back in the group, take some recovery, and then we'll go again. I think knowing those two riders, they'll want a two-rider breakaway because it then makes a hard race and a hard session for them. And that looks to me like exactly what they're doing. They're 11, 12 seconds clear at the moment. Michael Nuds inside Safrazadi, Stefan Van Els, Mikhail Kaminski, the riders behind. I think they're going to settle down into two groups now, and I think we're going to see Osborne and Vink ride away. They've just passed Mohamed Al Case, actually. Al Case, a strong rider in his own right in Category 2, and also a triathlete, if I remember correctly. We saw him in the GCC Championships for the first time last summer. I'm sure we're going to see him in the MyWhoosh Championships this summer.
I really do hope so, because he's a really competitive rider. It'll be very interesting to see. 4 minutes 40, the time the Dragon's Nest climb that time around on the segment as they went over the top 2K segment for the Dragon's Nest climb here today. And 4:40 is a phenomenally fast time, but it's a long effort. It's not just a sprint effort. You've got to be able to climb.
So in that Category 1 race, Jason Osborne setting that fastest time up the Dragon's Nest climb. Michael Vink in 2, Michael Knudsen in 3, Mikhail Kaminski in 4, Van Els Safrazadi, Harris Pucker, Vujasin Jones, Milostic, Paradians, Turek, and Andreasen. So 14 riders over that climb.
So Category 1 just going over the top of the climb. Category 2 at the moment, that's 17.7k. They're not quite yet at the Tokyo Sprint. You can see already, though, in amongst the skyscrapers, in amongst downtown Tokyo. And 4 riders clear at the front of the race. In Category 2, they've got a few seconds gap, about 4 seconds gap. Meanwhile, left-hand side of your screen, Vink and Osborne are clear. And again, that it's only a few seconds at the moment, but there is the potential for that to extend out as well. So here we go into Tokyo Sprint with our leaders Wozniak along with SS Jujinski and Milor are there. The 4 riders behind Betty leading the charge. The rider with the climbs competition looking to add the fastest sprint time here. He's also potentially using this sprint as a way to go from Group 2 to Group 1. He has on his heels Hoffman, the man who took the fastest time in sprint number 1, and I think he's put a faster time in there coming through. But we'll have to see who takes away the fastest time. I think it was close.
It was really close, I can tell you that. Lucas Hoffman did indeed set the fastest time in that Category 2 race. And I'll tell you something, he's a rider giving Olivier Simmons an absolute run for his money. Olivier Bigley Simmons bigging it up in the sprints. Has got competition today. And I can tell you, Simmons went through an average of 15 watts per kilo. He started that sprint with intention, and he held that intention the whole way through. Hoffman, average watts per kilo, 14.8. The two of them going neck and neck in Category 2. That sprint competition is going to get really exciting.
So Hoffman versus Simmons in Category 2 in terms of the sprints. Meanwhile, in Category 1, you can see that we've got Vink and Osborne. They still have our case actually taking a little bit of draft on the way through. It's a really good move by him. That will help it propel him up through the standings and potentially give him a little bit of a lift till they hit the next climb. Meanwhile, we're going to go into Category 4. We have 2 leaders at the moment. Jakub Wojciech along with James Harvey, the riders who have the lead. It's 6 seconds to Quiros, to Ibrahim Dromard and co. They're the chasers behind. And you can see at the moment the work being done. Bernardo Souza, the rider trying to bring back our leading riders. Quiros is going after him here. So all these counterattacks, these moves to try and get across, could well pull riders across to the leaders. It could bring the leaders back completely, but into this downhill section here. And this is where it gets difficult, because in some ways you want that big group behind to stay together if you're in that group, because a bigger group will have that draft advantage. But you cannot let riders like Harvey and Wojciech go clear. So you got Harvey versus Wojciech. They are your leaders at the moment. They have the gap on these two riders, Souza along with Quiros. They've got a gap back to Cadiz. So at the moment, this downhill, these flat sections, these twists and turns, serving just to keep people out of the way. We're in with Wyatt and Quiros. Great to see Wyatt here today. Another of our riders doing a fantastic job. Thank you, everybody who has joined us on the Zoom calls to give us the images of them in person. A quick play out. Please, please, please do get those cameras in. Join that Zoom room. We want to get you out there. So fantastic to see just how the racing unfolds for you personally and see you in person rather than necessarily just see your avatar in action. Now, just in with Mikhail Kaminsky's avatar at the moment, with Michael Knudsen, Saeed Safazadi at the moment, and Hayden Pucker. They are the 4-rider group behind our 2 leaders, the nearest riders to the lead of this race. They have got a little bit of a gap back to the riders behind them. It's not huge, but at the moment, there is a push coming on. Hayden Pucker at the moment at 5.9 watts per kilo wants to get across the Vink, as you just see big push coming through here. Lionel Vajassin goes through, and now comes Kaminsky's in there. Josh Harris making his way up there as well. Daniel Chirek. So this group coming back together. It had just started to split. The responses come from the back of group number 2. 2 escapees off the front. What's left of the main peloton is the group in front of you. They are picking up riders in those green jerseys of category 2. The green skin suit of the sprint leader in category 1, that's Jasper Paradine, is now at 47 seconds behind this group. He's well and truly out of the running, I think, in terms of the overall, and we'll be looking to consolidate those sprints rather than necessarily be in the hunt overall. This is Group 2 in Category 1 on race number 3, our 3rd qualifier in July, with the final still to come. 2 riders clear at the front. They're on your screens at the moment. Michael Vink and Jason Osborne. Vink in the yellow jersey, Osborne in the polka dot skin suit as the climb segment leader and winner of the first climb segment. They have company at the moment. Nicholas Trujillo, the rider who's holding the wheel at the moment and trying to make sure he can use this draft advantage as much as is possible.
Well, I'll tell you something. When Jason Osborne and Michael Vink come up alongside you and you try to hold the wheel, you are holding the wheel of 2 exceptionally strong riders. And for however long you can hold it, dig in and give it a go. Well, Peter Connell is digging in and giving it a go at the moment in Category 6. He's 47 seconds clear of Toro, Cridland, Montoya, Milano, Jose and Rooney. The chase group coming up on your screen on the left-hand side, but Peter Connell is absolutely riding away from them. Currently, well, take a look at that. I'm just doing a double check as to where they are on the course at the moment.
47 seconds is huge,
I know,
isn't it?
it's huge. I'm trying to look at what terrain he has put that attack in on, and it really has been on the transition from the Tokyo Sprint into the base of the Dragon's Nest climb for the second time. And with a 47-second gap on the chase group, Connell could hold this all the way to the finish. Now, Peter Connell is no slouch when it comes to Category 6 racing. He is regularly in the mix. So for me, this could well be the winning move that we are seeing from Peter Connell in Category 6.
He's a long way clear. He took 5th place last week. He took 6th place the week before that in July. Be interesting to see whether or not he can make that stick. A rider who has had a real mix actually of race categories over the years. His first race, so back in September 2023 on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. But in his time, he has been, and it shows you the changes in the categories: Category 3, Category 4, and Category 2, and Category 6. So a real variation. Now, we're in with Jonathan Cridland. He is leading the charge in that chasing group. The gap down to 30 seconds because the speed of Connell means that on the climb, his speed has come off. The time gap set as they came in to the climb, as the chase group still had speed and momentum. Can they close him down before they get over the top? And then can they use that group advantage if they haven't closed him down? Because it's 9.5 kilometers, near 10-kilometer run from the summit of the climb to the finish line, and that's a long way solo when you've got a charging group behind.
Yeah, and that is the thing, isn't it? You know, on the climb, being a solo leader, if you are strong, is brilliant. On that near enough 10k run to the finish line, it's a disadvantage being solo if a big pack is chasing. So it's going to be interesting to see how the Category 6 race plays out. Well, currently not far behind, the Category 5 race is playing out in a similar kind of way, but not quite the same. Diego Vargas trying to replicate what Peter Connell is doing, but look at that. The gap is nowhere near as big. It's just 2 seconds to the chasing group as Vargas kicks big style actually into the climb. So Diego Vargas climbing and climbing strongly. The chase group, however, very, very close.
Close, and a big number of riders. Look at the volume of light blue jerseys there. They are all your Category 5 riders going through the Category 6 riders. Category 6 in that purple with the 6 on the back, oddly enough. The number 5 on the Category 5 riders, and you can see that light blue jersey. That colour differentiation really does illustrate just how many riders there are coming through here in Category 5. It's a big pack. You've got the rider who took the climb segment previously out on the left-hand side. That's JD Abello. Abello now really starting to wind on this climb. He will want to pull that gap back down. He will want to go over the top. He'll want to, as a minimum, take away the climb segment once again, which will give him the win overall. Remember, there are prizes for each race category in each of our segments. Those are in the sprint segments and the climb segments, as well as for the sprint overall, the climbs overall, and the race overall. And when we get into our finals next week, there are team competition goes in, 7 teams in the team competition, 10 riders individually, 7 teams, a massive, massive prize fund. It was extended to cope with our 6 race categories. And I tell you something, it is incredible to see the riders week in, week out, battling it out for those prizes in the different categories and the different ways that they're awarded. Do you go for the sprints? Do you go for the climbs? Maybe you're not looking to take away a win overall. Maybe you're just coming back and you want a target to go for where you can put a short effort in. Luke Kendall, I think he's in for the long run here, because I'll tell you something, he's going really well there. Quick flick of the elbow there. Somebody come and take the lead for us. He's on his way up. He's chasing Vargas at the moment, and I'll tell you something, he's putting in a good effort here. So Vargas at the moment just in front. This is Kendall, the leading chaser. He's got Friedrich coming up on his shoulder, and Friedrich's going to give him a little bit of assistance. So is Abello here. Gaviria and Lutzi are not that far behind, but these riders do need to work together because they'll get to the top. They won't want to give Vargas any ground, and this is their opportunity, if you can climb, to distance some more of this group.
Yeah, and I'll tell you something, Kendall's got great company there, because of Bello, Friedrich, Hagland, Roy, all in the mix. And this is the chase group in Category 5. We are watching as they turn the corner on the Dragon's Nest. We drop back into Category 2, and Wozniak and X100 trying to go clear. They're 5-6 seconds clear of Betty, Graves, Coinston, the chase group behind. It's a bit of a stretch here at the 25.3 kilometre marker. They are coming into the next set of climbs, which will see them transition into the descent before the Dragon's Nest climb again. But these 2 riders now, X100 and Marcin Wozniak, pushing on strongly. Jeffrey Malure coming to the front of the group behind, not really putting much pace on. But Wozniak and X100 are quite a dangerous duo.
Quite. Very.
Ooh.
I'll go for a very dangerous duo. I wouldn't give them 2 seconds. I wouldn't give them 5 seconds, because I think that you've got 2 incredibly strong riders. And I think when you're on a climb like this and a course like this, one of the things that will catch people out is the fact that you've got these. It's not a conventional profile. It's not a regular profile. We start basically at 0 meters. We drop down in our descent, well over 100 meters of descent. We climb back up over the big climbs, the big Dragon Nest climbs coming in. You've got 175 meters of ascent at the time. Then you've got this section in between, which is not easy. Then we drop and we do a kicker. Then it's a downhill run effectively, or downhill and flat run to the finish. the way this changes the way you ride and the way you expend energy is really different. And having that way you expend energy, where you take on board fuel, needs to match where you're going to expend the energy that you're taking on board. I think it'd be very easy to get it wrong. And if you let two riders go off the front, you could get the energy wrong and not be able to catch them back. And
Hold on a
then
minute.
you're in trouble.
I am just going to pick you up on that because you were talking about putting energy in and expending energy out. Now that's not at the same point in time.
No, and that's the thing. You've got to do it at the right time with the time lag for your body to absorb the fuel, convert the energy, get it into your system and get it going, whether that's gel, which is very fast, or whether that is something that's a slower release, a longer chain carb or similar. Now, Olivier Simmons, I expect to have this absolutely dialed. However, because he's an experienced rider, he's got the medals on the wall to prove it. He's ridden the Sunday race for so long. At the moment, he's out of the saddle in person. He's out of the saddle in avatar form on our screens. Another of our riders with that cam on him. Brilliant to see here at the moment. But behind him, look who's coming.
It's the Osborne Vink train. And you know what? They've got Bruce Bird on the train with them as well, the Canadian rider. And it's going to be interesting to see because very shortly they're about to have Olivier Simmons there as well. Simmons coming towards the top of the climb. And, well, the question is, can he hang on to this group till they get to the top? They have just gone straight. The pace and power of Osborne and Vink, it is just phenomenal.
And it's a really good example there. You can see Bird was in the draft. He had the draft and he was able to sit in there. You couldn't get the draft. Simmons couldn't pick it up. It's a bit like trying to jump onto a tube train as it comes through the station.
It's so hard.
Don't try this at home, folks. But if you were trying to do that stunt in the films that you see of jumping off the platform onto the back of the train, on the back of the carriage, as it goes through, Tom Cruise might be able to do it on a film, but doesn't happen in real life because you can't accelerate quick enough. And that's where Bird has had that advantage. He went with them. He accelerated with them from the flat onto the climb. He was in the draft at the right time, and that allowed him to stay there. Simmons being caught on the climb, he couldn't do that.
It's a bit like being caught on the descent as well. If you get caught on the descent, actually, it's so hard not to go back out of the back end of the group that catches you because you have to judge the catch and you have to push on and almost sprint before the catch just to stay in the group. And that's all about momentum and learning about the momentum on the courses and how they ride.
Absolutely critical skill, and that's why we do say make sure you jump on board and ride. Get out and do plenty of racing on MyWhoosh. There's lots of racing from the classics right the way through team time trials. Loads of different ways to jump on board. You can get a view of what events are going on MyWhoosh info. We've got Jaka Vodicek out and racing today. Everybody involved in the race organisation out there making sure it's it's run by riders, from Matt Smithson, who was on the Virtual Velo podcast talking about going out and riding, to Rod Loxley, who's there checking out the dynamics and how that race is, to Jakob, the man behind the MyWhoosh info, getting out riding, knowing not just the theory, but getting it in practice.
Well, I'll tell you something. Bello and Friedek, Tamo Friedek, we're in with here at the moment, currently second place in that Category 5 race, and the push is on. Look at the effort and the work. So Bello goes over the top. That is the second ascent of the Dragon's Nest climb done. Friedek is there. Bello is there. The push is now on the descent because the pack in front, that's the chase group in the Category 6 race they can see ahead.
JD Abello taking the fastest time at the Dragon's Nest climb first time round and second time round. Wow. Friedecker putting the push on, getting second place over there. You can see at the moment they've just got Vargas for company on the way through here. So to my mind, you've got a group clear at the front here. You want to make the most of that because it is a reasonable size group potentially. 16
riders in Category 5 already up and over the Dragon's Nest climb for the second time. That's the group that are chasing the leaders at the moment. So Tamo Friedek is the rider at the front, pushing on the descent, big style, trying to extend that gap. Well, actually, what he's trying to do is get onto that group ahead, because if he can get onto the group ahead, he can sit in the draft and he can take some recovery. But the chase group behind, it is not far the gap.
It's not, and if there's nobody in front of these riders, the riders in front of Friedeck at the moment are absolutely motoring. The only rider I think might
Peter
well be at the
Connell.
road, Peter Connell, up the road, but you can just see as they push on. In fact, 29 seconds is the gap to Connell. This is where potentially getting Category 5 coming on board is going to aid the chasers in
Yes.
Category 6 here to close down on Connell. Now, you can see Friedeck has just jumped in. Great prediction there, Emma, because he went on and he went, right, that's me done. Rest time, let the group come up. I'm going to get the most rest of anybody in Category 5 before they all come back into this group, and then we go again. I think we could see Category 5 and 6 together coming into the very finish of this race, trying to close down that lone escapee. Meanwhile, Category 1, we've got Osborne and Fink up the road, 15 seconds.
And
no
take a look
distance
who's
at all.
putting the attack in. It's Hayden Pucker at the moment.
He's
been on such great form recently. He's had some top 5 finishes over the last couple of weeks, and his form has been superb. So at the 29.2 kilometre marker, Pucker sees it's a 15-second gap to Vink and Osborne, just 15 seconds. Time to light the afterburners, time to breathe some fire, time to ride the Dragon's Nest and really start to motor.
And Hayden Pucker, as he has published it on the live chat already, 86 kilos. He's one of our bigger riders, and that means he can use the power. More power.
Use the power,
he's got
Pucker.
But this is it. It's kicked down. It's put the power down. 4.5 watts per kilo, 5 watts per kilo when you're 86 kilos is very different to 4.5 watts per kilo.
I tell you, it's
when you're 55 kilos.
400, 420.
It's 400 watts at a time he's chucking down here. This is what you need to do to close the gap. The problem he's got is it's going to go onto the level here where, yes, it's about power, but it's also about having riders with you for the draft. You can see here, front of the race in Category 1, you've got that power in terms of Vink and Osborne, but you've also getting riders that they're catching it. And Bruce Bird's holding the wheels. In fact, he's contributing to this. It's in his interest to keep on charging on in Category 2. Left-hand side is the leaders in Category 1 and Bird chasing in Category 2, trying to get some places back. Right-hand side of your screen, Mr. X100 and Marcin Wozniak, the riders who are leading in Category 2 at the moment. They still have a gap from the chasers behind. Wow. They're not on their heels, and at the moment they're at 31.7k, but they must know that they have to keep pushing, because when we get to Dragon's Nest Climb for the second time, it's going to test them out. Now,
Category 4 have gone over the top of the Dragon's Nest climb for the second time. John Brune leading the charge there. Souza, Pierre, Quiroz, Pino and Harvey, the riders chasing hard. But I can tell you, 18 riders still in contention in that Category 4 race with that 9-kilometre run to go.
So the 9-kilometre run, the critical part, once you get off the Dragon's Nest climb, but to get there, you've got to ascend the Dragon's Nest. So Michael Vink at the moment in with Jason Osborne. Bruce Burt still holding the wheel. Can Ivan Bennett jump in with them? Here he goes. He jumps on board. This is going to make this a group of 4 riders at the moment. So 4 riders are pushing at the moment here at the front of the race. You can just see Vink, Osborne, Bird, and Bennett now. Pucker, the chasing rider behind, has not been able to make contact. Meanwhile, let's go across to Peter Connell. He's the rider in category 6 at the very front of the race on the right-hand side of your screen. Peter Connell giving it some at the moment. He's trying to stay clear of the group behind because that group behind is the category 5 leaders with 1 or 2 riders in category 6 trying to stay with them, and they are in sight behind, or Vargas is at least, because this is Vargas now with a view of the race leader in front.
Well, I can tell you there are over 28 riders inside the final 4 kilometres to go at the moment on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club here in Japan on the Dragon's Nest. They are all in the category 5 and category 6 race, and currently leading the charge is Peter Connell in category 6. But Diego Vargas, the leader in category 5, is closing down on Connell very, very quickly as they're running towards the last few kilometers of this race. It's going to get fast, it's going to get furious, and I am not sure the lone leaders in 5 and 6 are going to stay clear, because the chase is on from behind on the right hand side of your screen. On the left hand side of your screen, Vink and Osborne continue to push. Bird and Bennett, the category 2 riders, sitting in the draft at the moment, and they are being taken closer and closer to the category 2 chasers. Well, we drop in to the category 6 race, but a little further back.
Michael Adekanye, the rider here from Great Britain, you can just see on the bike there, just making sure he keeps focused on that screen in front of him. He's holding the wheels of Montoya at the moment as they go on to this climb. So this is the start of the Dragon's Nest climb for the second time of asking here today, as up behind him come Mr. X100 and Marcin Wozniak. They are the leaders in category 2. They go past the shoulder of Michael Adekanye as they go around that turn, and he's got a grandstand view of Mr. X100 and Marcin Wozniak, the 2 riders on your screen at the moment who come flying around that turn. The gap at the moment, are you ready for this?
I had to do a triple check on that.
They are at 50 plus seconds. The maximum I've just seen is about 57 seconds. They're currently holding about 55 seconds from Peter Milostic, Zach Nair, Carlos Ramirez, a who's who of riders behind, chasing the 2 leaders. And at the moment, if you are in an impartial viewer who is looking for some brave riders who have put themselves on the line, well, you could do much worse than support Marcin Wozniak and Mr. X100, who have the gap. They've been bold, they've been brave, they've got the gap, they're on to the final climb. It means that they are now heading into those final 10K. The problem they've got in between them and the downhill run is the Dragon's Nest climb, and you can just see at the moment it's Mr. X100 on the front with the yellow bike there ahead of Wozniak as we go back a little bit further down the climb here.
Look at the intention. Jason Osborne, 10.6 watts per kilo. This is a sprint into the Dragon's Nest climb for the second time for the world champion, because this is a sprint intent on dropping Michael Vink. He's done that already with that huge push. Gosh, he must be feeling good today to level that kick at the base of the climb. But he is indeed settling down now at around 7.5, 8 watts per kilo. Michael Vink down at around 6.5 to 7. The gap is starting to open, and Osborne is starting to ride away. Osborne just showing us how strong he is at the moment in that polka dot skin suit. Michael Vink continuing the charge behind. Taking a look and just trying to see where Hayden Pucker is. I think it's still around 15 seconds, you know. It is 20 seconds to Pucker. He's 5 seconds clear of Safra Zaidi. So Pucker putting in a strong ride as well.
It'll be really interesting to see what happens between Hayden Pucker from the Farm Watt squad and say Safrasadi from the Boss Moves Only squad as they come onto this climb. Safrasadi, in theory, the better climber, but we know that Pucker has got the power, he's got the pace. Will he be able to stay clear? Meanwhile, Jason Osborne is flying past. He's just gone
This
past
is the chase
Lucas
group.
Hoffman and Philip Graves as well as Osborne starts to thread the needle through the cloth that is the green backdrop that is the category 2 chasing group. These are the big group of chasers. They've got to make their way. And meanwhile, right hand side of your screen, we are getting close to our race finish because you can see the big kick is on here. Remember, race finishes at 47 kilometers at the moment. Vargas has the race lead overall ahead of Peter Connell. They've got 6-7 seconds back to the chasing group behind, but my goodness me, the time is starting to run out for anybody behind. Diego Vargas and Peter Connell, the category 5 and category 6 leaders respectively. They're side by side, but the chase group is in sight behind.
Well, Peter Connell just needs to draft. He needs to stay on that wheel of Diego Vargas and use it for as long as possible to stay clear of the chase group behind. 46.8 kilometers. They've got 200 meters to go. It's Vargas in category 5. It's Connell in category 6, and they're utilizing each other for the sprint. Peter Connell's trying to stay clear of the group behind by racing Diego Vargas in category 5. It's Connell who's going to take the win in category 6, but category 5 come up and over the top of Vargas. Evans Fark comes over to take the win ahead of Vargas in category 5, but Peter Connell, I think, will take the win in category 6. Category 6, it is indeed Peter Connell taking the win from Simon Llewellyn, Jonathan Cridlin and Vladimir Toro. Well, Vargas got beat on the line. Eben Svart came over the top with Luke Kendall, JD Abello, Andrew Neville Ross. Diego Vargas holds on for 5th place. 0.9 of a second separating the top 5 riders in category 5. That was just superb.
And those category 6 riders, Connell, Llewellyn, Cridlin, Toro and Rooney, followed by Jose Rademacher, followed by Milano, Montoya and Arrego. Incredible racing here in all of our race categories. You could be joining our riders out on the race route.
I tell you, if Peter Connell hadn't launched that sprint against Diego Vargas, he wouldn't have held on to win that category 6 race.
No, he wouldn't. And you've got to say, I mean, you got to feel sorry for Diego Vargas. He was bold, he went for the move, but then you saw Eben Svart's time in there with Luke Kendall and JD Abello. I mean, Abello's got the climbing, jersey. He's been going well, but Eben Svart's sprint there, I mean, brilliant sprint, fantastic kick, got the timing right. Vegas, I mean, he went from 1st to 5th in 20 meters from the line.
Well, he did indeed, and we're going to see category 4 come in next. And the category 4 leader mixed in with the category 5 and 6 group. You can see on the right-hand side of your screen the category 4 leader, John Brune, in the polka dot skin suit on the back of this group. And it is a huge group. But the chase riders in the category 4 group, just 11 seconds back at the moment. It's only 400 meters to go, and I think John Brune is going to stay in this group and stay clear. The chase from behind is not as close as it was in the category 5, category 6 race, but Brune, sensible, comes to the front of the group, not quite put his nose out in the wind yet as the sprint unleashes for the minor places in the category 5 and 6 race. John Brune clear of the chase behind in that polka dot skin suit in the category 4 race. He's won the climbing competition. He's going to win the yellow jersey as well. John Brune comes through for the win in category 4. Yannicki is going head to head with Gomez here, and Gomez comes over the top of Yannicki for 2nd place. Jean Yannicki will take 3rd in that category 4 race. Matteo Pino comes through for 4th. Junyu Lin comes through for 5th place today. Harvey Quiros, Wojciech Sanchez, Piera, Ibrahim and Swaza all coming through the top 12 riders within 7 seconds in category 4.
So category 4, another example of why you have to be clear and you need to sprint all the way into the line. John Brune able to hold on there. Had John Brune been on his own there at that stage sprinting, I think it would have been a different story, because I suspect Gomez, along with Yannicki and Pino, would have gone over the top of him. So keeping a very, very cool head, knowing when to sprint, where you can use the draft, absolutely critical. very close finishes so far in category 6, 5, and 4. And those places, remember, there are 10 places with prizes allocated to them for the first 10 riders over the line in each of our race categories. So absolutely critical for those riders in that sprint in and over the line to keep pushing all the way into the line. It's even more critical next week when we have the team competition in play. Maximum number of riders in a team is 5. 3 riders to count. The 3 fastest riders in your team's times are added together. Those 3 times give you your team time. Fastest team takes the win. So it means that wherever you are in that team, even if you're in 4th or 5th position in your team on the road, you need to keep on pushing, because if anybody has a problem, it's your top 3 riders to count.
And let me just tell you how close the team competition can be. When they were on the Dragon's Nest course on the May final, the men, in category 2, 1.5 seconds separated the top 2 teams. In fact, 2.2 seconds separated the top 3 teams. So the team competition can be so close, and the team tactics so important.
Now, you can see at the moment that we have still got plenty of riders out on course. Category 3 still spread across the road. Category 2, just taking a look, Wozniak and Mr. X100 have held their race lead. They are still cleared. Now, I don't think it's by anywhere near as much as it was, but Wozniak and Mr. X100 are still clear at 39.9k. That means they've gone over the top of the climb clear. Meanwhile, Jason Osborne has gone over clear, but behind him, have we seen my prediction come to fruition?
Well, interestingly, Jason Osborne went over the top of the Dragon's Nest climb with the fastest time in category 1. Side Safra Zaidi went over with the second fastest time. Then Michael Knudsen, Ollie Jones, Michael Vink, Lionel Vuyasin and Kaminsky. Josh Harris, Van Elston, Pucker also up and over that climb. We're in with Michael Vink at the moment, and he's working his way through the category 2 group. In fact, he's just gone past the leaders in category 2. Jason Osborne, 22 seconds up the road.
And it looks to me like I think Ramirez just joining the leaders in category 2 there. Wozniak and Mr. X100 as we make our way in through. You can see on the right-hand side of the screen, Becker at the moment being chased by Bakken on the left-hand side of your screen, Becker on the right-hand side of your screen. There's not a lot to choose between them, because this is the tunnel we've just seen Becker go through, and Bakken being overtaken here, and I think that is going by Ricky Kiddle. So Ricky Kiddle, left-hand side of your screen, trying to get the gap down. You can see that they're in the same terrain, but at the moment, it's Nicholas Becker who has the lead.
10 seconds, and I reckon it's around 100 meters at the moment, and I'm not sure Kiddle and Barrett and Kochikov can do anything about it. I think Nicholas Becker, he's wearing the polka dot skin suit, meaning he's won the climbing competition today. I think he's going to win the overall as well, because the others are going to run out of road, and Becker knows that now. Nicholas Becker takes the win in the category 3 race as the race unleashes behind for the sprint, and it's Barrett from Guarin from Fell. Brook is there as well, and Van Urk. So Nicholas Becker takes the win in category 3. Rick Van Urk comes through for second place. That sprint is challenging my computer. Timothy Brook comes through for 3rd, Guarin for 4th, Pierre Fell for 5th, Barrett Arago, Kalman Lepera, and Kiesnowski all coming in. Kansara is through to Bakken, Kiddle, Kochkov, Bloom. They are all through. The first 18 riders, well, it was 3 seconds that separated second from 18th in that category 3 race.
And Rick Van Urk unleashing the watts there, but getting the power down. He's a rider that we know has got a fantastic sprint on him, and he put it to good use to take that second place as they came in and over the line in category 3. A phenomenal race result for him, and no real surprises in that in a lot of ways, because Rick Van Urk, a great sprinter, but you've got to be in it when you've got to stay in contention over the top of the climb. So category 3 is in as well. Categories 2 and 1 still to go. Category 2 on the right hand side of your screen. Wow. A real mix of and it's been all changed at the front. It'd be good to catch up with that Category 2 race, because in Category 1, Jason Osborne is looking pretty clear with a reasonable distance to go to the finish. So let's take a look. Michael Vink is here. He's got Mr. X100, Carlos Ramirez, Giselle, Betty, Jody Yockums, and this really interesting now. So the lead that was there is not there any more for Mr. X100, but with the reabsorption of Wozniak and the arrival of Ramirez and a lot of riders really following in the wheel tracks of Vink, it's going to make for a small bunch sprint, surely.
Well, it's interesting, isn't it? Because let's just take a look at this. It is a small group, but not far back, Michael Knudsen side, Safra Zaidi. They're on the right-hand side of your screen. I'm just trying to take a look. I think that's around 200 meters back from the Vink group. And for me, they're sweeping up Category 2 riders who have been dropped from the leading group. They could be getting a pull back because the real move is on from Knudsen and Safra Zaidi at the moment. Look at the line of Category 2 riders behind them, desperate to sit in that draft.
So Jakob Björklund and Kankayan was on the wheels. He knew exactly where to be. He's been using them to come across. You've got Jakob Björklund in there. Nathan Guerra also very aware of the advantage of getting into the wheels here if he can. He's got his work cut out, though. He's at 1 second speed these riders are doing. That could well be a little bit too far out to make the most of the draft. He's working hard to try and get in the gap. Meanwhile, a little bit further up the road, you can just see Michael Vink has got a train behind him. Ivan Nuki, Carlos Ramirez, to Jeffrey Malheur, all in this group. And at the moment, they are basically sat behind the locomotive that is Vink. SS is nicely tucked in here as well. Betty in that polka dot skin suit. Damsgaard's got a good sprint. Malheur has as well.
Took the win last week.
Yep, this promises to be an absolutely flat-out finish in Category 2. We're at 43.9k. A quick reminder that we go all the way to 47 kilometers, not the traditional 45k. We do have some more variation in those race distances. 47 kilometers, the total distance of the race. So the riders with just under 3k to go, 3,000 meters, less than an individual pursuit on the track. It's actually a master's pursuit distance.
Is it?
It is 3,000k, yeah.
Is that for riders who are older?
Old. Yeah, old folks like me.
I was using the phrase older, not old.
Yeah.
The ER on the end makes
take
it
old.
better.
Means I've been around a long time.
It does, yeah.
Made it this far.
We should be very happy and pleased.
Yeah.
Well, X100 and Betty are pleased to be at the front of the race. Carlos Ramirez is there as well. And Jeffrey Malheur. Michael Vink just sat on the wheels and happy to be sat on the wheels because the pace is high on the front of this Category 2 pack. It's a smaller group of Category 2 riders and they seem very happy to be clear and to be working with Michael Vink. Vink desperately trying to stay clear of Knudsen and Safra Zaidi behind. Jason Osborne further up and down the road. I think he's around... I'm just trying to do a chop, just over 200 meters clear of the chase group with Michael Vink in it, the leading group in Category 2. Osborne and Vink went clear on the first ascent of the Dragon's Nest today. Those two riders then rode clear of the Category 1 pack. Around 15 seconds they were clear when they went into the base of the Dragon's Nest climb for the second time, and bang! Jason Osborne put in a blinder of an attack onto Michael Vink at that point in time.
And you can see Michael Vink's pace and power here really has shaken things up. He had dropped most of this group as they came through that section. Damsgaard very aware of that, as was Mr. X100, but it's Mr. X100 who's gone over the top here. Vink is now into second place. And is this a move by Mr. X100? If he can stay with Vink and stay clear of the riders behind, then he has got to run to the finish in the race lead. Behind him, Malheur has gone, we can't let him go, because this is dangerous. Malheur now sprints across. He's trying to get back onto the wheels. He'd get back in touch. That means that group will become a group of three. That means more draft available for Mr. X100 and Damsgaard. And you can see it's panic stations behind. The sirens have gone off. The alarms are flashing. This is really about making sure you go, because when Michael Vink has got the pressure on, at the moment, the one place you want to be is glued to that back wheel.
Well, you do. And Jeffrey Malheur has got a blinding sprint anyway. So I would, if I was him, be trusting the fact that sprint could unleash towards the final stages of the race, but you've got to be in the place to use it best. Well, Jason Osborne, I don't think he's going to need to worry about sprinting. He's 21 seconds clear of Michael Vink at the moment. He just needs to stay clear. He has 300 meters to go. He's going to stay clear because the UCI banner is ahead of the UCI Esports World Champion at the moment. Jason Osborne's in the polka dot skin suit because he's taken the climbing competition today. He's going to put on that yellow skin suit as well. Jason Osborne is going to win qualifier race number 3 in July on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. Well, the sprint is on behind, and this is the race 4 category 2, and Angus Benston has led out, but Matthias Van Hees kicked at 14 watts per kilo. Tatu Koistonen and Miller are coming as well. Van Hees on the front of this. Koistonen's coming. Can Van Hees stay clear? I think he does. I think that is Van Hees who's going to take that sprint, but it's going to be very, very close.
I can tell you the results are just in. Tatu Koistonen has just pipped Matthias Van Hees over the line by 1/100th of a second.
Okay, my eyes will take that, but I'll tell you something. We've got Safrazedi and Knudsen now coming in for 3rd place. They're side by side across the road, and Knudsen's going. Safrazedi is behind now. Safrazedi kicks again. Has he kicked too late? Can he come up and over the top of Michael Knudsen? Knudsen's gone again as well. They've still got to run to the line. Safrazedi and Knudsen side by side. Safrazedi comes over the top side. Safrazedi's going to take the sprint from Michael Knudsen. What a sprint from those two riders. Absolutely brilliant. 3rd and 4th in that category 1 race.
Okay, let's bring you category 2 first of all. Tatu Koistonen taking the win from Matthias Van Hees in 2nd, Jonas Bjarhed in 3rd, Jeffrey Malure in 4th, Nicholas Damsgaard in 5th, and it was Bangston, Jochems, Wozniak, Walter, Milostic, Betty, X100, Nuki, and then SS, followed by Ramirez. That's not all of that group. It was a huge group. Category 1 now coming in. We've got Jason Osborne taking the win. 1 hour, 3 minutes, and 52.277 seconds. 20 seconds back came Michael Vink. Then we saw the sprint for Safrazedi and Knudsen. 58 seconds down on the race leader, separated by nothing as they came in over the line. That was the sprint for 3rd and 4th. 5th place at Lionel Vijassin, a 6th for Manko Kaminsky, 7th place for Hayden Pucker, with Joshua Harris coming in 8th, Daniel Churek coming in 9th, and Stefan Van Elst rounding out the top 10. And interestingly, if you look at the top 4 places, they're all Boss Moves only riders. So for our team competition that takes place in our finals next week, the Boss Moves only squad have laid down a marker, and they have put down the challenge to all the other teams here today in qualifier race number 3. And next week, those team prizes come into count. Please do make sure you join us for the team competition. Lots for you to do in the meantime. Jump on board, download the app on iOS, on Android, and on Windows on your PC. Do make sure that you listen to the Communique with my co-host here, Emma Martin, and of course, Chris Schwenker, because there's a fantastic guest in the shape of Matt Smithson, the director for all things esports and game. And I have to say, it's a great listen. Have a listen to that for all the details on the MyWhoosh Championship and on the World Championships. Get your entries in, please, for the MyWhoosh Championship.
3rd of August is the deadline.
The 3rd of August is the cutoff, but the time zone is still to be decided, and one of the reasons for that is it's going to depend on where the entries come from. So if nobody goes into the time zones, nobody enters from, let's say, Australia, which we know is not the case. We know lots of people have, but if nobody came in from the Australasian area, they wouldn't take that time zone into account when they're setting the time of the racing. So you need to get your entries in for the championships. We will be putting words to the action for that, and the best place to watch that will be on the MyWhoosh YouTube channel here. Make sure you subscribe to that for updates on everything, including all of the racing, and of course our finals on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club next week.
Can't wait.
Neither can I. But we're going to have to wait a week for those finals. We've got a busy week ahead. If you're going to Cole to the National Series, do come and say hi. We've seen loads of people from MyWhoosh, but
it's brilliant.
It is brilliant. We see so many. It is fantastic. In the meantime, stay safe. We will see you again soon. Thank you very much for watching. Thanks to the riders for keeping us entertained. And of course, to the team behind the scenes, without whom we would be putting words to a blank screen. So We will see you next week for the finals in July. From Emma and myself, Matt Payne, stay safe. See you in a bit.
Bye.